Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to In Case You Missed It. Here it is, Thursday. We got a lot to talk about. So I'm glad you're here. Probably won't waste a lot of time. We'll jump right in. First of all, a couple of things I want to get to. Then we'll jump into your comments and go from there. Um, After almost 6 months, I believe, um, Avery and the guys over at Cordell Truck Sales did make good with me on that money they owed me. So I'm going to re-put their information in the ticker at the bottom of the screen. If you guys want to contact them, they're there. I'll leave that up to you. I've said before, and I'll go ahead and say it again. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does stuff wrong. A lot can be undone with just an apology and doing the right thing. And they have apologized. They explained to me what went wrong. I'm satisfied with their explanation, and they made it right by paying me what they owed me. So I no longer have a beef with them. So I can put their information down there again. And if you guys want to contact them, it's there for your visibility. And if you don't want to contact them, I can still help you find a truck. So the truck, as far as the truck goes, the truck I got from them's been great. I haven't had any problems with it. I've got a minor issue now that's becoming a major issue. We're going to talk about it, getting parts and things like that. But I work for a great company. I'm happy with them. They're also in the ticker. But the catch to it is you got to have your own truck. And the guys, Avery and them, can help you. Or like I said, I've got some other options if you need it. But anyway, I felt like, I've spent the better part of the last couple of months being upset about it. And I felt like that now that an apology's been issued and the right thing's been done, that I needed to lead the show off by telling you that they did the right thing and that I no longer have any hard feelings towards them. Another thing I want to mention, in the process of trying to sell the Corvette, I talked to the very last car lot that I sold cars for, and I hadn't talked to him for a few years, and I hadn't realized how long it had been, but the sales manager wasn't there no more. So I talked to the owner of the car lot, and he was telling me that sales manager caught COVID in 2020 and got really sick, and he's now on disability and walks with a cane, and he's really had a lot of hardship. So I reached out to him, offered to help him if he needed help in any way. He was a good guy and a really good sales manager, and we had a lot of laughs and a lot of fun working together. And so I hate to see anybody go through struggles like that. And he's been on my mind this week. I know a lot of you, if you want to pray for him, that'd be great. A lot of you this week been asking about my grandson and my aunt. We're still waiting on test results to come back. We hope to know something. Maybe about this time next week, I'll know something. And so there's not really any updates to provide. I was down there yesterday and didn't get to see him, but I got to talk to my son a little bit about his situation. And as far as my aunt, she's still in the hospital. They're getting second opinions, and they don't know if they're going to have to amputate more of her leg or not. As soon as I get some more information, I know a lot of y'all been praying. Tons of you have reached out to me and said you've got your churches involved, and I appreciate that, and I'll do my best to keep you in the loop. Now, let's jump into a few of these comments, and then I'll tell you where we stand with the Corvette and where we stand with the Kenworth. Let's see here. Comments. Let's go up to the top. Looks like the first one in here today was Midlife Trucker. Who's got 2 thumbs and was first? This guy. There you go. I appreciate you being here, Midlife, and you're the first one today. And Gary Cook is here. Oh, almost forgot. we need to give a shout out to the members, people that have clicked the little join button below the videos and become members of the channel. The very first to do so was Ramon. And then we have RGB, Snowman, Robbie Ross, Corey Oatley, and John Toohey. Want to say thank you to all you guys for becoming channel members. They get exclusive content, exclusive videos, things like that. So far, I've only put one out over there. I re-released it to everybody this morning. So they got it a couple of days before everybody. There's going to be a lot more of that in the future. Things I can show you and things like that. But we found out if you've got an iPhone, it's a little tougher to join. You have to do it on a computer. I'm trying to find a workaround for that right now. There's it also puts a little icon by your name. And coming soon, we're going to have special emojis that you'll have access to as well. So look forward to those things. I'm still working out all the kinks, but I appreciate you guys that have taken a leap of faith and already joined. Good friend Tim Back is here. And Don made it in, saying hello to everybody. Hello, sir. Roger Berry. And I'm trying to get caught up. We're about 40 minutes behind on the comments right now. So I'll go through them as quick as I can, try to get to everybody. Then we'll talk about the Corvette and the Kenworth. I'm in. Hope everybody is doing all right and safe. Finally raining here in Western Kentucky. There you go. Got you some rain. And then we have Roger Berry asking Midlife Trucker, does he work out of Ohio? And he says, yes, Roger, the company is in Fort Recovery, Ohio, but he's out of Georgia. Then we have David Wilson here. Thank you for being here, man. And the very first guest we ever had on our Tuesday show, Adam is here saying, good evening, Todd. I'm out of the truck for the day, and I am running the grain cart. All right. Well, I'm glad you made it in, man. Thank you for being here. Roger Berry said, okay, I go to Honda in Troy quite often. I bet that's a pretty good load. Midlife says, I pick up at Cloplay, Troy. The Right Way to Truck is in the house. We're glad you're here, sir. And Brian Walton. He's been with me for a long time viewer. Says, hello, Trucker Todd. Hello, Brian. Thank you for being here. Travis Jones says, hey, Todd, checking in from Salina, Kansas, headed home for the weekend in Kansas City. That's a good deal. I've been home tomorrow. I'll make 2 weeks, so I'm ready to go back out on the road. We're about to get into what's going on with the truck and with selling of the car. We'll hit that here in just a few comments. 2 minutes late, but here. Well, thank you for being here, Lehman Ballistics. And Gypsy Travel Adventures. Hey, good evening all. Hey, thank you for being here, Gypsy. Before we go on, I got to ask Gypsy. She came in Tuesday, I think was her first time in here. And, Miss Mother Trucker kind of threw her under the bus and announced that she was single, and we kind of turned it into a dating show. So I got to ask Gypsy, did you get any good prospects out of the Tuesday show? Any guys courting you or trying to date you that were of a quality thread that you're interested in? Midlife says a customer service failure is an opportunity. Yeah, I know of a trucking company that they landed a big FedEx account recently, and the very first empty trailers they took over there to get loaded didn't pass FedEx's inspection. And then the very first driver they sent to pick up a load there showed up late and delivered late. So you factor that in, and it's exactly like you said. Customer service failure by one company can be an opportunity for another company. And that's one thing. Sorry, this chair makes my back itch sometimes. That's one thing that Scott emphasizes to us about, being good and showing up on time, delivering on time, having good communication, because that sets you apart from other companies. And that's part of why his hiring process is so long. He just wants to make sure that he gets good people that can do the job. Because let's face it, the outside world, they don't know what we do. They think we're steering wheel holders. And quite honestly, some of us are steering wheel holders. But hopefully we really are professionals, or we're trying to be professionals, and we're trying to do a good job and take pride in our work. But I mean, those that don't, they're not going to last long at this company or in the market as a whole, because it's not the strongest that survive, but it's the ones that run their business the best and that take it the most serious. And Gypsy's Travel Adventures has the prayer signs. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Good friend Deontay Butler is here. Glad you could make it in. He's a longtime viewer too. He went away for a while, but he's back, and I'm glad he's here. Germanic tribesman. My turn signal was out. Turns out it was the pigtail. Did the shop try and replace the pigtail? Yeah, this question, and I know it's not your fault, Germanic, but it really irritates me, because what it assumes is that I don't know what I'm doing. And I've been doing this for 27 years. So I actually carry a spare pigtail under my bunk. And that's the first thing I did, was trade out the pigtail. The very next thing I did was call Scott and get some advice, some ideas, have a second set of eyes looking at it. And then I didn't have a tester in the truck with me. I bought a tester, and I tested all the wires. And it's actually the plug where the pigtail plugs into the cab of the truck. The pin that's for the left turn signal is getting no power to it. So I took it to a Love's where I knew the mechanic that had been there for a long time and knew his stuff. And he said, man, because of the wiring schematics, you're going to have to take it to a dealer. They don't share that stuff with us. So I went to a dealer, and it took them 2 days to find it. They checked all the wires, all the harnesses, all the plug-ins, and it turned out that it was a primary control module, which is basically a computer. So I'm glad that in your situation, it turned out to be a pigtail, but it was definitely not a pigtail. And I realize some of you are going to think I'm overreacting, but let me tell you, I've had questions from, well, did you check to see if you had a light out on your trailer, to pigtail, to you name it. Did you check your fuses? Yes, that was the very first thing I did. Well, what about the one under the hood? Yeah, I checked that. What about the one under the bunk? Yeah, I checked that one too. What about the one under the dash, kind of by where the clutch would be? Yeah, I checked that one too. This may shock some of you, but this ain't the first week I ever sat foot in a truck. Good evening, Trucker Todd, currently in Hardyville, South Carolina. Well, thank you for being here, Nate. Looks like convoy went under. Did anyone hear about this? No, and I've still got the convoy app. I hadn't tried to log into it lately. Matter of fact, Scott called me this morning, was teasing me. He's like, hey, you need me to do any carrier packets for you? And I was like, I would love for you to do a carrier packet for me, but I don't know when we're going to be able to do one. Midlife says, soon we will be calling you the guy formerly known as Trucker Todd. Wear purple. I hope not. I think I'm okay. I think there's a desire on my part, and there's a desire on Scott's part for me to get back to work. So I think it's going to happen. But right now we're waiting on shops, and we're almost caught up on the comments. I'm about 4 minutes behind. So let me go ahead and tell you what's going on with the truck. So according to the dealership, they're still waiting on parts to come in. I called them about 30 minutes ago. I said, hey, not trying to rush you. Just want to see if we could get an idea of when the parts are coming in. She said, I don't have any notes here. Let me go over to the parts department and ask them, and I'll call you back. I haven't received a call back yet. So with tomorrow being Friday and not a lot happening on Friday and even less happening on Saturday, they're in there. I'm going to guess it's going to be sometime next week. So I called the Corvette place where the Corvette's at. And for those that don't know, I'm selling the Corvette, and I'm going to use that money to take care of the truck bill and take care of some other stuff and get my nest egg back up, basically. Well, I called the Corvette, and now I took it in there Monday. Oh, we're going to get right back on it. You'll probably have it back by tomorrow. He said, yeah, we looked. Well, first he told me we're still diagnosing it. I said, there ain't nothing to diagnose. It's a part. I just need you to put it back together. I can't fit my hands behind the cluster to do all the plug-ins, and the wires are too short. I need some stringy guy with little hands that can fit back there. So he says, well, yeah, they're still looking at it. I said, okay. Well, he calls me about 45 minutes later, and he says, all right, I talked to the owner, and it's going to be $611. And I blew a gasket. I'm like, why is it $611? It's about 30 minutes worth of work. We're showing 4 hours labor. So same tactic I'm going to impose with them that I am on the Kenworth. I kind of feel like I'm being gouged on the labor at both places. On the Corvette, I believe they're charging me labor for remove and replace. Everything was already removed. It just needs to be replaced. So the labor should be about half that. But I may be successful. I may not be. It may be one of these deals like it was with Cordell, where it takes a few weeks or a few months for us to come to an agreement. But I feel pretty confident at some point we'll get there. So I told them, go ahead, do the Corvette. I need it fixed. And they said they'd probably have it ready by about Monday or Tuesday. I'm hoping it's a little sooner than that. I explained to them how bad I need it. I've got a guy in Houston wanting to buy the Corvette, but he doesn't know when he can come look at it because he wanted to come today at 4 o'clock. I said, well, it's still in the shop. I don't know when I'm getting it back. So that's kind of where we're at on the Corvette, on the Kenworth. Man, I've heard all kinds of rumors about me this week. I have not been in the hospital. I've not been involved in an accident. So just be real careful about these rumors you hear on the internet. I'll come on here and tell you the truth. You don't have to get it from other sources. LOL. MT is hilarious. She's talking about Mother Trucker. For those that don't know, I'm newly single and not really ready to mingle just yet. Just a few people did stop by the channel to say hello. Yeah, we were kind of like your grand reopening. I was noticing your last video before this one you just put out was 8 months ago. So I'm glad that you decided to jump back in the game, and we kind of helped you kickstart it, hopefully. A customer service failure of your company is an opportunity to show how your company handles the negative. Well, that's true too. Let's see here. Pigtail, it's almost like when the cable company tech spends 20 minutes discussing lights that are blinking. Yeah, it is. And that's what I was saying about the Peterbilt dealer. I told them exactly what it was, but they still went through all the diagnostic, because they have a flow chart they go through, and they go through it. Even if you do the first 5 steps for them, they still go through those 5 steps in case you miss something. So I told him, hey, I've already checked the fuses, the relays. I've already checked the pigtail. He still went back and checked all those things, and he's like, yeah, you're right. Those things are all good. And it's a little bit frustrating because, they ask you the stupid questions. Well, are you sure it's not your trailer? Yes. If there's no electricity coming out of the back of the cab of my truck, then it has nothing to do with the trailer. I could plug up any trailer on this lot, and it's not going to have a left turn signal until there's electricity going through the truck. Midlife then asks if it's plugged in. Yeah, and I guess that's why I get frustrated, is because people assume if you have a CDL, you must be stupid. No educated person would ever drive a truck. And I'm not saying I know everything about everything, but I know where my limits are. And I'm going to go right up to my limits and check everything that I'm capable of checking. And it's just like the Corvette. Could I have probably got that cluster back in? Maybe. But that bezel is delicate. I mean, you know how GM plastic is. And it's 50 years old. And if I break it, I know a guy, another YouTuber, that he has like a Corvette wrecking yard, and he can get me another bezel, but it's going to be the wrong color. I'm going to have to take it somewhere, have it dyed the correct color. It becomes a very big hassle, and it probably costs me more than the $600 I'm going to spend to have somebody else put it back together. Whereas if they break the bezel, then it's their problem. So knowing when to stop and let somebody else take over is really, really important. DSG holiday season has definitely started for us. Running 6 days, 5 to 8 loads a week, averaging 3,500 to 4,000 miles a week. LOL. Me and my student is exhausted. I bet that's some young man's work right there. I couldn't do that. I'd be the trailer would be empty except for my dead body in the back. I don't know. I just think it's weird that you can't get a straight answer. That's what I was telling River Valley Capitals, where the truck's financed. It's part of Cordell. That's what I was telling them today. If the parts aren't coming till next Friday, fine. Tell me we're not going to have the parts till next Friday. I'll quit begging you. I'll quit calling you. I'll actually unpack some things. I got a lot of things here that are still packed up because I'm expecting to get a call any minute to go hop in the truck and go run. So not knowing is the hardest part. I wish everybody would just be honest. It'd make things so much simpler. Do you feel that Prime's going out of business? They are not having any loads for a team trucks, and there's loads for the solo drivers is very short. Well, let's talk about Prime for a second. The reason they're doing shorter loads is per mile, shorter loads pay better. And so it's more profitable for them. You've got a certain daily level that you need to make to be profitable. And Prime does too. And if, their level is a lot lower than yours, they don't have to make as much a day to be profitable as what you do. So a lot of companies, not just Prime, are going to the 300-400 mile loads because it pays better and it helps them meet their financial goals. I don't necessarily think that Prime losing team freight means they're going out of business. I know Miss Mother Trucker, they run their tail off. I would look more at, is it your dispatcher? Have you had some service problems that maybe they're holding against you? Did you offend somebody? Something like that. But the short answer to your question, no, I don't think Prime's going anywhere. Rob Lowe is a guy, I've played basketball with him once about 20-something years ago. He's a good guy. I believe he's financially stable. I don't think anybody would argue that he's a smart businessman. And I think you're in good hands over there. So I think they're safe. And I think the freight will come back for teams. They've got a whole sales department that just goes out and looks for freight. So if you don't have freight, the problem's with the sales department. And he's not going to sit around and let his company go down because his sales staff's weak. He'll bring some people in. Now, it may be slow for a month or two, but I believe they'll turn it around over there. My good friend Ramon is here. The very first channel member we had, he's got the little icon next to his name. I appreciate you being here, my friend. Are you still in Miami or are you out burning up the highways. Kid behind the wheel. Yeah, I was worried. Somebody said that you were in an accident. Well, I was back April 28th. That's why I left F2F, or F2F separated from me. So yeah, there was an accident back in April. Now, I don't know if people are just now seeing the videos they did back then. There was all kinds of crazy stuff that came out. I heard everything from I was drunk to I was on drugs to I fell asleep till I was distracted. I was playing with the cell phone or something. To what else did I hear? Mechanical problems. I saw pictures of F2F trucks that were in accidents, and they were trying to say it was my truck. It clearly wasn't my truck. And so there's a lot of false stuff going around, and I can't really comment a whole lot on it still, but I can give you one bit of news update regarding this. As recently as yesterday, I was on the phone with attorneys discussing this situation, and so it's something that's still in the forefront of my mind. I haven't received any tickets. As far as I know, nobody has come after me trying to sue me or nothing like that. Doesn't mean they won't. I believe they have 2 years to file. But yes, as a part of my regular phone rotation, I'm speaking to lawyers and people like that about what I can say, what I can't say, and possible options for me in the future. Midlife Trucker says 3 more pay videos, and starting with week 43, I'm going to have the 3-minute pay video plus a semi-daily vlog with road video and 1 truck stop video. Wow, you're going to be a busy guy. Lehman Ballistics says, who tore the Corvette apart? I did. I took it apart and replaced the speedometer in it. It comes out real easy because you don't have to gain access to the back of it to plug all the little dash lights and cables and stuff in. But they're pretty short on that car. And when you're going to put it back in, you need more room than what you needed to pull it out. So what I did, I dropped the steering column to try to give myself more room to reinstall it. And I just couldn't get my hand back there. And quite honestly, they can put it together a lot quicker than I can. I'm just so busy. My problem's always been time. It's like today, a little bit ago, I tried to lay down and take like a 30-minute nap, and it was just call after call after call. Some of you that's never had a YouTube channel just don't realize the grind that YouTube is. There's a reason a lot of YouTubers burn out and go away, and there's a reason a lot of them take sabbaticals and will stop for a few months and come back to it. It really is a lot, and it has to be something. You know, everybody thinks they want to do it for the money, and the money's not that great, especially in the beginning. So if the only reason you're doing it's the money, you're probably going to be disappointed. You have to like what you're doing. You have to enjoy what you're doing, and then the money comes later. But yeah, I took the Corvette apart. And originally my son was going to help me get it back together. He's a little bit more dexterous than I am. His hands will fit in places mine won't on that car. And he was going to put it back together for me. But with all the things going on with my grandson and everything, he's got his hands full right now. So I had to go to plan B. And when I was telling him about it today, he felt terrible about it. Midlife says his first vlog is going to be about company shops and maintenance. Yeah, that's a good one. I made some about some company shops that they still hate to this day. Usually it's the bad shops that get the attention. Glad to hear that you and Avery are all good now. They're just good people. Well, I'm thinking better about them than I did before. I mean, time will tell. We'll know in the next month or two, but he and I have maintained contact during this whole ordeal, and he understood why I felt the way I did. and the company understood why I felt the way I did, and it took us a while to get it all ironed out. So I'm glad that we did. I'm glad that there's no hard feelings there. I don't like having hard feelings with anybody if there's a way we can work it out. And I'm sure you guys are thinking about that other guy that sent me the cease and desist. And you think there's a lot of hard feelings there. But that guy would be surprised how much we could fix with just an apology and him making it right. And I'm sure in his mind he feels like he already has. But hiding behind legal documents instead of just calling me and talking to me is not the way to fix things. Silos says, you're a little behind. There's a lot of news about Convoy in the past hour. Well, I hadn't seen it yet. I'll after the show, I'll look at it, and I may have a video coming out tomorrow morning. RGB, another channel member, says, hey, everybody. He's waving. Alaska Hall says, are you still making payments on the truck? Yeah. Yep, I've still got the truck. It's over at the dealer getting fixed right now. Ramon's another channel member. The very first one says, I'm still in Miami doing local work, hauling lumber. Oh, there you go. Now, Ramon, did you reach out to Gypsy the other day when y'all were both in Miami? I'm trying to make a love connection. Some of y'all called me the next Chuck Woolery. Deontay with the super sticker. Thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate that. Steve says, you sure have tough luck with shops. I'm sure it appears that way, but what I'd say is you only hear about the bad ones. I don't, and I probably should. I was in North or South Dakota it was a few months ago, and I had a real good experience at a TA, but it was at like 2 a.m. I should have probably done a video and said, this is a great shop and here's why. And I just didn't do it. So it's not that I have a lot of problems with shops or anything like that. And I think I've shared with y'all, this Loves in Lubbock has been very, very good to me in the past. And I've had a lot of good experiences there. But, negative videos is where all the attention goes. So all these videos I do about Scott going, what a great company it is and how much I like SRO logistics, people tend to forget about those. But if I did a video tomorrow morning and said, well, Scott called me an idiot and we had a big argument, then that would be all everybody remembered. Here's Todd at a trucking company having problems again. And they would forget that we've had all these months with no problems, and they'd focus on the one negative. And I guess I'm as guilty of it as you guys are. And you'll see if you ever do this, there's not a win-win for you. If I do all positive videos, if I did 3 months of positive videos and I never talk bad about any company, you guys would call me a recruiter, you'd call me a cheerleader and all of that. And if I did 3 months of negative videos and I went, every company sucks, then I would hear, well, you can't be happy anywhere. So I just tell the truth and let everybody think what they want to think. But yeah, this is, I still don't think it's a bad experience. I would like a little bit better communication. I actually blame the virus for more of this than anything. It seems like the virus, when people went home to work and stuff, it made them lazy. It made them not care. And they just don't have the customer service that they used to. But, that shop where my truck is right now rebuilt the transmission on my Dart truck, my T680 I had at Dart, and did a phenomenal job. So I know they're a good shop, and I know things are going to be good, but shops never get trucks done as quickly as you want them to, and you just have to be patient and wait it out. And I'm probably a lot more animated here than what I really should be or am in person. It's I really am okay with everything. Hey, looky there. Midlife Trucker just became a member. I'm excited about this. Thank you for that. It's good to have you in there, Midlife. I need to check something on you, though. Oh, yeah, I was making sure you had a wrench. I thought I gave you one a while back, but I wanted to make sure. Thank you for doing that, sir. Roger Berry says, tapping out. It's bedtime. Catch the rerun in the morning. Be careful, all. Good deal, Roger. Thanks for dropping in. Get a good night's rest, and we'll catch you later. Whenever I needed the right headlight bulb changed on my Prius, I paid a kid to do it. Small hands and poor design. Yeah, yeah. Here's the problem. I'm glad Midlife brought this up. I'm 50 years old. In December, I'll turn 51. The problem is my mind thinks I'm about 23 and my body thinks I'm about 80. So I take this stuff apart and I'm thinking, oh, yeah, even if I got to crawl up under the dash and do this and do that, I can still do it. And I get up in there and my hands start hurting. I don't have the motor skills I do with those little bitty screws, so I'm dropping them. And then I'm with the flashlight trying to find them. My shop doesn't have air conditioning. I got a big shop fan, but in West Texas, it blows more dust than anything. And so it's just misery out there. And most of the time when I can go out there, it's hot. And I realize we're about to get in colder times, but I need to get that car together and sell it. And so my 23-year-old mind is going, oh, you can do it, Todd. You can do it. And my body's going, no, you can't. You're not that guy anymore. And so I probably should have took it somewhere to begin with, let somebody else do it. We've got a place here in Lubbock called Hills Custom Hot Rods. They do a lot of old classic cars. I probably should have took it there and said, hey, swap this speedometer out. And it would have probably been done real quick. But me being a cheapskate, I'm thinking, oh, I'll get out there and do it like I used to. Same thing. When I was able to go to church regularly, I worked with the teenagers and the college kids a lot. And I'd get out there and try to play kickball and basketball and all the things like I did when I was young. And I'm not near what I used to be. And it would show after a while. I'd get winded. I'd get tired. And I have to accept that now I've got to kind of pass the torch on to other people sometimes. Loves has Zippo lighters half price, retail 40 each, and they are selling at 15 each. Survival tool, heads up. Acceleration brought that to us. All right, if you need a Zippo lighter, they're cheap right now. Also, survival tools, and we appreciate you letting us know about that. Also, I talked to a guy the other day that had almost $200 worth of Love's reward points, so he could buy all that stuff and still have money left over. I think he was looking at new GPSs. Addie says, hey, Trucker Todd, how are you doing? Did you end up finding a place to do taxes? Right now, I'm just doing a lot of bookkeeping. I'm making a list of people to call, but no, short answer to your question, I haven't made a final decision of what I'm going to do. Right now, my focus has been on, and I don't really have any new records to do right now. I'm sitting with my truck in the shop, but it is coming. Hopefully, I can work on it this weekend a little bit. I don't want another situation. In 27 years of driving, I've never switched accountants midstream in a year, and it's something I never want to repeat. So I don't want to run into a situation like we had with the last accountant, where I think they're got a lot of knowledge. I think they're a great guy, but sometimes they wrestle with the truth. Sometimes they wrestle with morals and things like that. I really want to vet the next person that I associate myself with. And so as soon, you guys will know the second I do, I'll make a video. I'll tell you where I went. I'll tell you who my guy is, all that stuff. But I'm going to have to get to work on it pretty quick. We're entering into the last quarter. Well, I guess we're in the last quarter of the year. So I've got to get it done pretty quickly. I'm going to bombard them with paperwork and stuff when we do make the switch. But yeah, hopefully I'll have something to report to y'all within the next week or two. Roger Berry says, Dr. Love. Hey, if I want to help you guys any way I can, if I can help you find a girl or help you find a guy, whatever you're into, I'm cool with that. Gary Cook says, America sucks. Well, I like America. I just don't like their tax system. Oh, if anybody's been to Springfield Underground in Springfield, Missouri, do they allow overnight parking? Are you talking about the caves? Because most of the cave locations I've ever been to, they have like a parking lot out front before you entered into the caves. But I'm not sure specifically about where you're talking about, Tim. I try to avoid the caves. I can take a truck apart, but I have trouble putting it back together. That seems to be my problem with the Corvette. And I'll add to that too. You guys are going to tell me, and I agree with you, there should be no difference. I can take an old Ford apart. I can put it back together. I can make it purr like a kitten. But GM does not like me. And I'm okay with a Dodge. Dodge is a lot like a Ford, but with more bolts. So if a Ford has 4 bolts on something, a Dodge will have 6. And so Ford and Dodge I can do great with. I get under the hood of a Chevy and I just screw stuff up. I don't know what the deal is. I knew better than to start on that Corvette. I should have just paid somebody. And now they're taking advantage of me, no doubt about it. And I typically get the last laugh, though. Let's wait and see. Midlife says, I bet most people driving 5.4-liter Fords 2003 to 2009 only get 7 spark plugs changed, whether they know it or not. My Navigator still had 1 Motorcraft when I changed them. Yeah, for those that don't know, the 5.4-liter Fords, the threads on the heads for the spark plugs, the way I understand it, they didn't go deep enough with the threads. And man, they're bad about stripping those threads off. It's bad about breaking spark plugs off in there. And the back one, you almost have to pull the engine to get it out. It's almost impossible. And so that's why he's saying he bets a lot of times they only change 7 of them. I bet if it's somebody doing it themselves or a shade tree mechanic, I bet you're right. But also they had a problem with some of the spark plugs shooting out. So they have had some remedies come since then. But yeah, it's a messy deal. A lot of guys won't even buy a 5.4 Ford for that reason. But pretty good engine. Just that was their shortcomings. I've heard of people getting them rethreaded and things like that. But man, I'd like to have a Navigator like you got. Those are great vehicles. Hey, Trucker Todd, should I file quarterly or yearly? Any recommendations? So I got to be real careful here because I can get myself in a lot of trouble answering that question. So let me do the disclaimer for everybody. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a tax professional. Any tax advice I give you should be held with a grain of salt, and you should consult a tax professional. Tax professionals that I have spoken with in the past have gave me varying opinions on this question. Some of them have said, yes, you need to file your quarterly taxes. Some of them have said it's better to wait till the end of the year and just pay yearly because by the time you pay the extra accounting fees versus what the penalties would be for not filing quarterly, it basically evens out. So what I would recommend, because I've heard accountants go both ways, if you're a person that has trouble saving, I'd probably pay them quarterly. And that way you're getting it out of the way. It's a smaller amount. If you're a guy that can save money, then I'd probably pay them annually and just pay that little penalty because it's cheaper than the extra accounting fees in most cases. But in all cases, I'd recommend talking to a tax professional that gets paid to answer those questions, and that quite honestly has a lot more knowledge about it than I do. Accounting, did you check out the reports I sent you for Let's Profit truck gauges? Are you talking to me? Yeah, I did see your stuff, and that's one of them I'm considering because you told me that you're able to print that stuff out and take it to your accountant, and he's cool with it. And that might be the long-term solution. I had a guy email me this week, and he said, "Why'd you get a truck out of Iowa? Why didn't you get one in Texas? Isn't there any good dealerships in Texas?" And you have to remember what this channel is. This channel's a platform. And if I find some guy 3 blocks away from my house that can do my taxes, that doesn't help none of y'all. So what I'm trying to do when I buy a truck, when I give tax recommendations, when I buy a headset, anything, I'm trying to find stuff that we can all use. And so I do like what Midlife is suggesting, because we could all download that stuff, buy that program, and it would probably work great. But then if they're going to have to take it to an accountant, I've got to find an accountant that would benefit most of you. I'm not going to be able to find a solution for 100% of my audience, because every one of your situation's different, especially when it comes to taxes. But what I try to do when I buy a truck, what I try to do when I say, hey, this is a good service, you should check it out, like ES Advantage fuel card. Not everybody can use it. Some companies say, nope, you got to use our fuel card, that's it. But for those of you that can use an outside fuel card, ES Advantage is going to save you the most money 9 times out of 10. So I got to think about, so when I'm looking at all these suggestions y'all send me, I've got to look at them from the lens of how many people can I help with this? And so that's kind of what I'm doing. But so far, Midlife's suggestion is very strong. I'm giving it a lot of consideration. I like Tim Back's solution too about QuickBooks, but I have to think about the audience. How many are computer savvy enough to be able to do that? How many people have a computer? Quite honestly, a lot of you just have a phone. And so we're there's a lot for me to evaluate, but I've got to find a solution that works for me, but it works for a lot of you as well, if that makes any sense. I would look on Google Earth, Tim Back. He says, yep, it's the caves in Springfield. But if I remember correctly, when you're pulling up there, there's a parking lot off to the side where trucks can park. And then they call you into the caves when they're ready for you. Reba Smith is here joining us. I thought, yep, she's a moderator too. I thought I gave her a wrench before. She dipped away for a while, but came back last week, and we're glad she's here as well. Springfield Caves. Check Trucker Path for parking info and reviews. Well, there you go. Midlife getting back to you, Tim. I know Tim uses Trucker Path, so I think he's got that app already, and he can check that out. But if I remember correctly, you're good there. It's just been a while since I've been up there. My starter's on the passenger side, if I remember correctly. Acceleration says, I plan on shoehorning a Chevy 454 and my Toyota Tacoma. Want a real challenge. That would be great if you could do it. I don't know if the front axle could handle the weight. That'd be my concerns. You may have to do some fabrication to make that front axle strong enough. My son, it's like a friendly competition between us. You guys know my truck's a little over 500 horsepower, somewhere around 520, my pickup truck. And my son is currently, as of yesterday, was tearing the engine down. And when he gets done with it, it'll be slightly over 600 horsepower. So he had to outdo me, and I can't go up to that level. My truck now is dangerous. I can't imagine it with another 80 or 100 horsepower on top of it. First word, I try and use the first word to remind you. Oh, that's a good idea. He's talking about, we'll go back to his previous comment so I can show you what he's saying. Ah, that's a great idea, Midlife. So we're going to go back to his previous comment. He puts the first word of which comment we're talking about. Sometimes I get lost because the comments can get behind, sometimes over an hour. And so y'all will talk about something, and then by the time I see it, it's an hour later. So what he's saying is right here, he put Springfield Caves to let me know he was talking about Tim and being at the caves. And then he went on to his comment about check Trucker Path for parking info and reviews. Just Midlife showing another way that he helps me. And him and a lot of the moderators are really, really supportive, really, really helpful. And I appreciate it. Coach and Stewie had a tough time with their fuel card. Someone stole all of their 500 gallons of points, 500 gallons of fuel. Yeah, I saw that video. I don't think it was actually their fuel card. I think it was their rewards card. And matter of fact, I commented in that video, and Coach said that they got the phone number and they were able to get into it. I was always under the impression, especially with the TA Petro card, you have to type in a 4-digit PIN, or at least it makes me every time I go to the kiosk. Coach corrected me and said, no, that you don't have to have that 4-digit PIN. You can get into it without it. I don't know enough about it to argue with him that he's right or wrong. I thought you had to have a 4-digit PIN, but as a precaution, I went and changed the phone number on all my cards to a number that very, very, very few people have. And I feel pretty safe at this point. Midlife talking about car modifications. I once had a Pinto with a 351 Windsor. I couldn't keep the front wheels on the ground. Oh, I bet that was funny. Hey, Ted Van Buskirk is here. He says, hello, sir. Good to see you. Hope all is well. Sorry, I've been really busy lately. We'll be listening. Well, thank you for being here, man. I appreciate it. We're just putting along in here. And participating, man. Somebody hid this comment. I'm going to go ahead and show it. Thank you, whoever took care of that. Acceleration says, why would you bank so many rewards points? Idiots. I've always worried about that too, because let's say you get fuel, you're walking inside the truck stop, you drop your card in the parking lot, somebody picks it up, they can go swipe it and steal all your points. Some people keep a lot of points on their fuel, on their rewards card, so they can buy a big purchase. Like I know people that have saved up points and they'll buy a new CB or something like that. But yeah, that's always the risk. If you lose that card, if the truck stop system's hacked, somebody could steal all your points, and maybe you get them back, maybe you don't. So I don't know if I'd call them idiots. I can certainly see why you'd feel that way, but it's definitely risky. Coach and Stewie is what he's talking about now. Got hit for 500 gallons using the TA card. Yeah, it was on their rewards card, right, though. Not their, they didn't have like a TA fuel card. They had a TA rewards card. I think they're using that one through their company that they're leased onto. I don't know. I don't follow them as close as I used to. Sometimes I'll click over and watch their stuff, but there's no bad blood between us that I'm aware of. It's just they're doing reefer and doing their thing, and I'm doing dry van and doing my thing. They're a team. I'm a solo. So we're kind of running in different circles now, but I wish them the best, and I still have a passing curiosity. So sometimes I go over there and check them out. Sometimes they come over here and check me out. As far as I know, I'm still a moderator on his channel. And as far as I know, he's still a moderator on my channel. But I know a lot of people have tried to say, oh, they hate each other. They're going to fight if they ever see each other. And as far as I know, I don't have any beef with him, any conflict with him that I'm aware of. If he's mad at me, it's totally one-sided. Now he's talking about points. I use the points for food and snacks. I can find everything for sale there on Amazon. Yep. Yeah, I do the same thing. I get up $5 or $10 worth of points and then I burn them and get $5 or $10 or more worth of more points and use them again. Then if I lose the card, I'm only out $5 or $10. TA Petro is no longer issuing any cards. They are tapping your rewards. Yeah, but to redeem the points, I thought you had to put in a PIN. Yeah, I'm aware of that, Gary, but do you not have to put in a point to redeem? Because if that's the case, I mean, you're going to have massive fraud if there's not a PIN involved. Everyone loves a train wreck. Yes, they do. I mean, for example, mine has a PIN on it, and the PIN is 2311. I'm joking. You guys don't think I'd be stupid enough to put my PIN on here, do you? Hey, Todd, have you ever worked in LTL? Yeah, I worked for Roadrunner for a couple of years and did real well over there. Liked it. Ran terminal to terminal, made really good money. Ran my tail off, though, over 4,000 miles a week. And so, yeah, I've got some LTL experience. That's actually the first place I ever did any broker type stuff. They allowed you to use a broker they had when you were trying to book a load to or from the house because I didn't have a terminal near my house. And I had a guy who's now retired named Mike that kind of taught me the ins and outs of load boards and brokers and things like that. And that experience parlayed into me being able to go to DART and get on something they called the OPI board, where I ran the spot market, negotiated my own rates and everything. And so a lot of the reason I'm able to do what I do now, I attribute to Roadrunner. And I still talk to one of the recruiters over there. We still have a real friendly relationship. And I'll always be grateful to Roadrunner for the experience and the opportunity that they gave me. That's also where my channel really started to take off. I had like 150, 200 subscribers when I went to Roadrunner. And several of you that are here now found me when I was at Roadrunner or later when I went to DART as a result of the experience I got at Roadrunner. Coach and Stewie, it was points stolen at Pilot. The TA theft was fuel purchase, and it went on a company credit card. Man, that's terrible. That's terrible. I would say this too. It doesn't matter if you like Coach or it doesn't matter if you like Stewie or if you hate him. It really doesn't matter. We shouldn't celebrate, and I'm not saying midlife is, but I know there's a lot of people that thought it was funny and was kind of celebrating their misfortune. We shouldn't celebrate anybody being a victim. And so I hope they're able to recoup their losses. The video I saw, Coach said he thought he knew who did it, that he had them on video at one of the fuel stops. So hopefully they catch the people behind it. But like I said, I can honestly tell you I don't have nothing against either one of them. I've never met Stewie. I've never talked to Stewie on the phone. I don't even know if Stewie and I have ever even emailed or texted each other. I don't believe we have. So there's no possible way I could have a beef with Stewie. I know Coach pretty well, even though we've never met in person. And I think any disagreements or misunderstandings we had in the past, we've both left them in the past. And I don't think there's any conflict or strife between us right now. Gary Cook says I hadn't. TA and their 20-year-old kiosk the size of a Pac-Man machine. Exactly. I'll tell you what TA and Petro did to their rewards program that I used to love, and they took it away. You could swipe your rewards card in the restaurant, and you got points. So if you went in there and got you an omelet for breakfast, a veggie omelet or something, you got points for that. And then they went to some weird system where you wrote it on a list, and then they added the points later. And now I don't think they add any points for it. You can pay with points, but you don't get any points for eating in their restaurant. And I wish they'd bring that back. along with the buffet. And I know what you're saying. I don't need a buffet. I get it. I just like the variety. It's not the quantity of food. It's the variety. You can have several different things at once. Do you ever hear from Dave? I wonder if he's still training at Swift. On very rare occasions, I hear from Dave. Maybe once every 3 or 4 months, he'll call me out of the blue. The last time I talked to him had to be a couple of months ago. And he said that he was still training at Swift and doing well. And we never knew each other real well, but we've had communications from time to time. Just it's pretty rare, though. Again, we're running in different circles. I'm never, ever going to train. And he's at a mega carrier training. I'm at a really small company. He's at a mega carrier. So we're in different circles, but to the best of my knowledge, we don't have anything to, we just run in different circles. We're not mad at each other or nothing. The time before that, he called me. I had said something on a video that had upset him. He told me what it was. We talk like adults. And by the end of that conversation, I agreed with him. I was out of line, and I apologized to him. And he accepted my apology, appreciated me apologizing, and we've been good ever since, as far as I know. Roadrunners all LTL. Midlife says, did you ever deliver the LTL or just terminal to terminal? Roadrunners all LTL. I just went terminal to terminal, and then they have box trucks that do the final mile part of it. Gary Cook says, did anyone hear Burt Young passed away? No, I did not hear that. A lot of people, if you're not realizing who Burt Young is, he was the Penguin on the 60s series. No, that's Burgess Meredith. Burt Young is, dang it, is that, I should know who Burt Young is. Burt Young is the one that played Rocky's brother-in-law, wasn't it? I'm going to have to Google who is Burt Young. I'm drawing a blank. I know who that is. Burt Young. Of course, my phone ain't going to work. Burt Young. Yeah, he played Rocky Balboa's brother-in-law in the Rocky movies. Good luck trying to pronounce his real name, though. Gerald Tommaso DeLuise. That's a shame right there. Another good one gone. Wimpy McPoten with a million excuses. How can you pump 500 gallons? That's like $2,000. Well, there's a way. I'm not going to say that way on here because I'll get accused of accusing people of things. But let me say, if you have an older truck, some of the older trucks would hold like 250, 300. I would think like you that you could do it maybe in a couple of trucks. Maybe it all didn't happen in one transaction. Maybe it was 2 transactions at 2 different truck stops. There's also some dishonest ways you could get to 500 gallons. But I don't know enough about the story to speculate. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. But yeah, it would be a lot better if it was 150 or 200 gallons. Midlife says they're telling us about it caused many of us to change our phone numbers. I forgot to mention he's a member. Yeah, you're right. I did that day right then while the video was going on because the more high profile you are, my number's everywhere. And the more high profile you are, the more people that have access to your number. And I thought they're going to clean me out if I don't change my number immediately. You should ask the finance company if they can have you skip a few payments due to the breakdown. Yeah, they're not going to do anything like that I'm aware of. Um, right now, I think I can take care of it on my own. But if we get to a point of desperation, then we'll look at something like that. But they know my situation. They know what's going on here, and so far they've been reluctant to do anything like that. Um, any of you guys that have a truck finance with them, if you want to talk to them and suggest things like that, you're more than happy to do it. But so far, they've been a little reluctant to participate like that, and I can't blame them. They financed the truck. They didn't agree to give me a maintenance plan for the life of the truck. That's supposed to be my responsibility. And a combination of rates being down and just little nickel and dime stuff has kind of wore me a little lower than where I'd normally be. Even my YouTube's down. I'm getting about half what I was a year ago. And so, yeah, everything's down. Everybody's broke. And I'm sure they're having trouble collecting from a lot of guys. Well, I know they are because some of their guys have contacted me. And so I can see why they'd be scared to do things like that. And I'm not saying it's out of the question, but it's not something they're going to volunteer readily. And I'm sure even if they did it, they wouldn't want me to talk about it. Germanic does terminal to terminal with Saya. I was telling in the last video I was talking about, we used to have a Saya terminal here in Lubbock, and I drove by there the other day and it's not there anymore. So I don't know if they moved to another location in Lubbock or if they closed it altogether. I remember when you got a PM at a Petro, you used to get a free meal. Yeah, and I think the one at Iowa 80 still does that. I think they still give you like a $10 voucher or something for food. But yeah, they do that. You and Coach talk some mad smack about each other. I'm surprised you two are still on good terms. Well, a lot's happened since then, and it was a stressful time. I think we both are driven people. I think we both had people pushing us, and it's been a year ago, something like that. A lot's happened in that past year. We've had opportunities to work together since then, and as far as I mean, go to when next time he does a video, you can ask him. But from my perspective, I don't have any beef with him. I don't have anything negative to say about him. I loosely follow him. Like I said, I don't watch every video. I don't know everything he says or doesn't say. He may tell you next time you ask him, Trucker Todd's a jerk and don't listen to anything he say. But I doubt that's what he's going to say. I imagine he's going to say something along the same lines about we occasionally talk. We don't talk daily or weekly or nothing like that. If he needs to ask me, like I think he contacted me the other day and asked me if I'd been in an accident because a troll put that out. And he didn't want to spread falsehoods. And he said, yeah, I didn't think it sounded true, but I wanted to hear it from you. I said, yeah, there's no accident. So that was the last time we talked. I think that was about a week ago. And sometimes I'll have a YouTube question. I'll text him, say, hey, Coach, how do you do this on YouTube? And he'll either say, I don't know, or he'll say, oh, you do it like this. Or I'll say, hey, I'm trying to do this. Do you know an app that's good for that? And we have trouble doing that because he uses iPhone products and I use Android products currently. So sometimes he says, well, I know how to do it on Android. I don't know how to do it on Android. I mean, I know how to do it on iPhone. I don't know how to do it on Android. So, like I said, I just think that we're both mature enough to move on beyond it. And when there's opportunities for us to help each other, we do, or work together, we do. But here lately, there just hadn't been a lot of opportunities because we're both doing something entirely different. Buffets. There's a Golden Corral at a Pilot Flying J in Maryland. You can search by restaurant in both Loves and Pilot Flying J. Wow, that would be great. We've got a Golden Corral here in Lubbock. My wife doesn't like Golden Corral that much, so I don't get to go there that much. But I sure would like to go somewhere. I'm tired of cooking at home. I've been living like a poor man this week. I want to go have a nice meal. Jordan B says, rest in peace, Convoy. Yeah, immediately following this video, I'm going to get online, read all about it, and look for a video tomorrow morning talking all about it. That's right, Oser DM. Uncle Polly. What a great actor. You really, I mean, he played that part perfectly. And he was the guy, I mean, part of the video you hated him and thought what a jerk, and part of the video or movie, I mean, you felt sorry for him. So I love the Rocky movies. Probably my favorite franchise all in all. Rocky 1 through 5, and Rocky Balboa was great. The Creed movies were okay. There's rumors that there's one more Rocky movie come out. Everybody's making fun of him. What's he fighting this time? Arthritis? I don't care. I don't care if he fights anybody in it. They're good movies. They're inspirational. I'll watch them as long as he keeps popping them out. Yep, that's right, Gary. He was Uncle Polly in the Rocky movies. I almost got him confused with Burgess Meredith, who's been dead a few years, who played the coach and who played the Penguin on the original Batman in the 60s, the TV show. On LTL stuff at Cheeseman, we LTL in full truckload, but we hit the docks. Good practice. Yeah. Cheeseman seems to be a pretty good setup. Let's see what else we got here. Fuel. It was multiple hits at the same station. Was it on the same day? Because then that starts looking suspicious. That looks like somebody stole their card and said, hey, I've got 2 trucks in my fleet here. I'm going to fill both of them up. I'm guessing that's why my fuel card needs truck number, trailer number, and employee ID at the pump. Yeah, mine does truck number, driver number, mileage, and trip number. And so it works pretty good. Now, my personal fuel card, the S Advantage, I don't have all of those requirements on there. I think I've only got 2 requirements. But I'm going to go back and add those other ones because I still have to turn my fuel receipts in for IFTA, and that way it'll have everything already printed on the receipt for Scott. That's something else I got to do. I may do that tomorrow. I got a lot to do. They used 2 trucks, and then the guy went inside and used his debit card on camera. Yeah, that was pretty stupid. They're going to catch those guys. That's what it sounds like. If you guys want me to hypothesize, and this is where I get myself in trouble, I imagine either Coach or Stewie was walking across the parking lot. They accidentally dropped the card in the parking lot. Somebody saw it, picked it up, said, hey, I've got 3 trucks here in the parking lot, or I got 2 trucks here in the parking lot. Nobody will ever know. They went over and filled up real quick and thought by the time Coach and Stewie find out, I'll be long gone. And what they didn't think about is everywhere you go, you're on camera. And so they're going to catch these clowns unless they were wearing COVID masks while they were pumping and while they were in the store. But if their face was visible at any point, they're screwed. They're going to catch them. And there's a whole lot of charges that could come out of that. When your YouTube revenue is only $75 a month, dropping or going up 50% isn't a game changer. I would agree with that, except mine's never been that low. The very first month that I got monetized, I was way above that. You have to hit the $100 mark before they'll even pay you. Mine's significantly more than that. And when I say YouTube, I'm counting in all the other stuff, the sponsorships and the paid promotions and all of that. My situation's a little different than most people. It's a significant hit. I'm by no means the biggest YouTuber. There's a lot of you that make a lot more than I do. Cash is King makes probably 10 times what I do. But I do okay with it. I'm satisfied with it, but it's definitely not $75 a month. My EFS card needs my truck number and PIN. There you go. That's a good way to have it. Yeah, a lot of people on YouTube are saying you got in an accident. Well, just because you hear it on YouTube don't mean it's true. Matter of fact, here's the estimate for my truck right here. And it's from Rush Truck Centers. I guess they've got a body shop, but it's not in their body shop. They're going to say what they're going to say. They've also said I'm a wife beater. They've also said I'm a drug addict. They've also said that I'm a child molester. I mean, they're going to say what they're going to say. The people that know me know what's true and what's not. I'm not worried about the people that are making stuff up just trying to get clicks on their channel. If it doesn't have an apple on the back, it's just a phone. There's a lot of people that feel that way, Midway. I get it, man. The Golden Corral at the Flying J is in Virginia, Tim says. There you go. I know there's one somewhere that has like a Fuddruckers next door to it. I don't remember where that's at, but I've gone to that one a few times. Fuddruckers makes a good hamburger. One-Eyed Rooster says, Trucker Todd, I'm new to the channel and just subscribed. I've enjoyed your content and information. Are you still with Swift? Wow. So I left Swift about, I think it was back in April or May. I think it was in May. So I have not been with Swift since May. I bought a truck. I leased that truck on to F2F, was running spot market freight, negotiating my own rates, all of that. On approximately my third or fourth trip there, I had an accident and totaled that truck. I really believe this accident that everybody's talking about, they're talking about that one back in April. F2F cut me loose, and then I bought another truck, financed it from a dealership, which their information's in the ticker below if you'd like to email them about getting your own truck. And they can work with all credit situations, things like that. And I've been running for SRO Logistics, which his email's down there too, since then. And I'm happy as I can be. So I don't know if people are thinking I had a second accident. I really don't know where that's coming from. But yeah, it's just the one accident back in April. If there's another one that I don't know about, could somebody please email me a police report at todd@truckertodd.net. So the next time you hear somebody on a YouTube channel say, hey, Trucker Todd just had an accident, ask them to send you a police report. I'll bet you it's going to be the one back in April. And I do have a copy of that police report. Convoy owes me thousands, probably won't see it, unfortunately. Well, if you were factoring, maybe you will. Because if your factoring company approved you to haul that load, the factoring company will probably still honor it. If you were just waiting to get paid from Convoy, you probably are not going to get all your money, or if you do, it's going to take a long time to get it. Channel member, I'm getting better about saying that. Midlife Trucker says, all of your fuel receipts are in the Loves or Pilot app. Yes, that is correct. Gary Cook says, was your accident in Texas or Arkansas? The one in April was in Texas, barely. Texarkana, Texas. Wimpy McPoteman says, I think it requires a theft of $1,500 before prosecution occurs. I'm not sure about that. I would think it depends on the state and the county you're in, but you might be right about that. But I find it hard to believe that nobody's going to do nothing about it. Either the card company or the truck stop or even Coach and Stewie. I don't think they're going to stand by and not do anything about it. I'm sure that they're going to try to do everything they can within the limits of the law. YouTube revenue, you only count the Google AdSense. Well, even that, I get several $100s a month off of just Google AdSense. Not count, and some of the other comes through Google AdSense too. But yeah, I get a lot more than $75 a week. I mean, a month, several $100s a month, not counting all the other side stuff. Midlife says, I'm addicted to caffeine, but it doesn't show up on a urine test. Yeah, that's good. The only thing about caffeine is, though, it can show up when they check your blood pressure. So if you're one of these guys that's barely squeaking under the 140/90 blood pressure, you don't want to drink a lot of caffeine before you go in for your physical that day. Hey, Dirty Diesel's here. It's good to see you again, my friend. He says there's a TA in Richmond Hill, Georgia with the Fuddruckers. Oh, okay. Maybe that's where it is. I was thinking there was another one up in the Northeast, like in Virginia or somewhere like that, but it may be that one I'm thinking of. All I know is you guys are making me hungry. When my wife gets back, I'm going to be like, can we go eat something? No, the truth is she's expecting me to cook tonight. And so I probably need to start cooking when I end this, but we'll see. See what kind of mood she is when she gets back from her friend's house. Your videos and information are part of the reason I'm starting with Swift in a week or so. I've made more people mad saying what I'm about to say, but it's the truth. And Swift is one of the best places I've worked. Now, where I'm at now is the best, without a doubt, but Swift was very good to me, and I made really good money there. I know Coach has said the same thing. Coach has said that Swift was really good to them and him, and that he enjoyed his time there. 404 Dave has told me he loves working at Swift. They really are a lot better company than they get credit with. Now, do they have their problems? Absolutely. Will they frustrate the heck out of you? Absolutely. Will they leave you sitting sometimes without a load? That does happen. But they're not the terrible place that everybody makes them out to be. But having said all that, they don't hold a candle, not even a candle to SRO Logistics. Scott beats them in every metric except money. I made a little more money at Swift, but I'm negotiating my own rates here. So if I don't like what I'm making, that's not Scott's fault. That's my fault. So you can't really count that one. But they were very good to me. I drove nice equipment. I pulled nice trailers for the most part. I got along with the people in the office that I worked with. And in the right circumstances, I'd go back there. I'd consider them again. You know, if Scott walked in one morning and said, I just don't want to do this no more, Swift would be on my short list of people I'd consider going back to. But as long as Scott says, hey, I want to keep doing this, I'm going to stay right here where I'm at. But definitely not a bad place like they get a rap for being. And the thing that surprised me the most about Swift is I went to the terminals and I expected to see a bunch of 22, 23-year-olds that brand new, didn't know nothing, or I expected to see a bunch of people that looked like their elevator didn't reach the top floor, things like that. And I didn't. I saw a lot of people been there 10, 15 years, a lot of experienced people. Now, occasionally did I see an idiot? Yeah. But you're going to see that at any company, especially the bigger companies. The bigger the company, the more the idiots. And but percentage-wise, it's a very small amount. Most of them are pretty good. Most of the shops are pretty good. I know of two of them that are not great, but I know of one of them that's excellent. The one in Phoenix is excellent. And so, yeah, it's the VP of the owner-operators is a great guy. I've sat down with him and talked to him in depth before. He watches my videos sometimes when he can. He's a busy guy, lots of meetings. And so, yeah, I think you will have a lot of success at Swift. I hope you'll stay in touch. Let me know how it's going. I hadn't been there now, though, in several months since May, so it's possible things could have changed. But if they have changed, tell me that too. It's good information for me to know. When guys such as yourself call me and say, hey, I'm thinking about going to Swift, I can tell them, well, One Eyed Rooster said it's a great idea, or One Eyed Rooster said it's a terrible idea, and here's why. So the more you tell me, the more I can help others. Gary Cook says exit 109 on I-95 in Maryland at the Flying J. That may be the one I'm thinking of, Gary. You guys have a lot better memory than I do. All these places run together after a while. Cash is King did a video on $58 parking at the TA. Why wouldn't you just get a hotel for $58? That's kind of my thinking. My thought would be maybe the hotels around there are real expensive too. It's the old supply and demand. How much is that parking spot worth? As much as somebody's willing to pay. Same thing with my Corvette. How much is it worth? As much as somebody wants to pay. If the top bid's $100, then that Corvette's only worth $100. If the top bid's $100,000, then that Corvette's worth $100,000. And it's the same thing for a parking place or a hotel room. It just depends how bad you want to park, how much other available parking's in the area. But if they're charging $58, it means they've got a group of drivers that are willing to pay that much. And it's really unfair because the guys that are paying that $58 parking are the guys that their company will pay for paid parking, so they're not paying nothing. The guys it hurts is the owner-operators that are out here pulling sub $2 a mile freight and just trying to scrape by. Now that's one more expense they got to incur. And so I thought 20 was too high, but you think about it, you get a shower for $13 or $15 and they have to give you water. They have to give you electricity. They have to give you towels, washcloth. A lot of them include soap. And here's a parking spot that literally costs them nothing, maybe $12 or $15 an hour to have somebody clean it when y'all throw your pee bottles out. And they're charging $58 for it. So it seems really, really price gouging and excessive, but they're doing it because that's what the market tells them they can do. And I try to avoid truck stops that do that, but sometimes you can't avoid it. Golden Corral is in Flying J, number 875 in Elkton, Maryland. There you go. I appreciate that, Midlife. I don't go to the Northeast much anymore, but if I'm ever up that way in that area, I'll be tempted to dip in there. Is it the full buffet like the regular Flying J is? Or I mean the regular Golden Corral is? I like the one there at Iowa 80. They usually have a good buffet, or they used to last time I was up there. Nicholas says, you ain't getting nothing from Convoy. Well, I never pulled any of their loads. They rarely had anything that got me excited, but I know a guy that pulled a lot of their stuff, and I hope he doesn't get burned. I used your referral code for ES Advantage. I also just got the DIY semi-fuel card today, working local in Ohio. Fuel discounts are far and few between. Dirty, that sounds great. It's always good to get multiple because, let's be honest, there might be times when DIY's discounts a couple of cents better than the fuel card I use. You just never know. The more options you got, I check Mudflap occasionally. I check them all. You just never know. And the more options you got, the better chance you are going to save on fuel. So I think you're doing a wise decision. And let me know how it works for you, what you find out. If you come back and say DIY Semi's fuel card is saving you more than ES Advantage, I may get one of those too and start comparing myself. So you're recommending the dealership you got your truck at? Sort of, loosely. Let me tell you what I mean. They apologized to me. They paid me everything they owed me. So I don't have any gripes with them now. They made things right. They did the right thing. It was a little slower than I like to have seen. So I'm saying that I don't recommend against them. Now, I'm not saying they're the end-all be-all solution for everybody. I've got other options if you don't want to deal with them. But I'm saying at least I can come on here and say that I don't feel like they're screwing me over anymore. And then I've put their number back up. If you guys want to call Avery and see what trucks are available, at least you can do it knowing that they haven't screwed me over anymore. But I'm not wholeheartedly endorsing them either. I'm leaving it up to you guys at this point. If you say, hey, Todd, I still got a sour taste in my mouth about what they did to you, I want to get a truck, but not from them, that's fine. I got 2 or 3 other options of people that'll work with bad credit. But if you're saying, hey, Todd, I was going to buy a truck from Avery, and the only thing that held me back was how they did you, then now I can tell you with a straight face that they made everything right, and don't let that be the reason you don't buy a truck. Ramon, channel member, was a channel member. It's not showing him as one anymore. That's weird. Is saying, Todd, have a good night. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you being here. Must be 2 then, Tim says. Must be, I bet he meant must be true. Nastic card has a 250-gallon limit plus. That must be with your company, Gary, because I know when I use my Nastic card, it says I can get 300 and something gallons, but my truck doesn't hold nowhere near that. I'm thinking that's probably a company restriction more than a fuel card restriction. The TA in Commerce, Georgia has a Fuddruckers too. Midlife says, good deal. So Wimpy says, Swift load board changed terms again, 0 pay for empty miles equal criminals. Yeah, and the reason is, let me tell you, because a lot of people gave me flack over this. I get it. On a load board, you typically don't get paid for empty miles. When I book a load, I don't get paid for empty miles. The difference is I can negotiate my rate. So if I know I got 150 miles of deadhead, I can work that into my rate. When you're being paid mileage on a load board and they are paying you deadhead miles and then they all of a sudden stop, that results in about a 20% cut in pay. And shoot, I'm just glad it's working. I heard the other day that the guys couldn't even get on there. That was one of the discouraging things about Swift was the load board was a pipe dream. It was a fantasy. I was beta testing it and doing pretty good on it, but if they ever do release it, it's going to be so controlled and micromanaged that it's not going to feel like a load board. It's going to feel like load selection where companies give you 3 loads and you pick which one you want. And they're going to be able to control it. Like if you live in Lubbock like I do, they're going to be able to not show you any Lubbock loads to where you're going to have to deadhead a ways if you want to go home. Or, you know what I mean? There's going to be ways they can still control it. And you can't blame them. It's hard to give up control when you got control. But that's real discouraging because I think that's why a lot of guys are leaving there is they were promised so much with the load board and it's just never come to be. Channel member Midlife says, Swift made it down to my top 4 when I was choosing a truck, driving school, and first carrier. They charge for parking and showers because they want it to be available for their customers. Those who have fuel have points to use for parking. Yeah, but think about that for a second, Midlife. Let's say that for round numbers, and my truck doesn't hold this much. Let's say that I fill up before I park, get 200 gallons. All right, that's $2 on my rewards card. Then I go to a parking spot that's between $20 and $30. I would have to fuel 15 times to be able to qualify for one parking spot. I've suggested that what they should do is use those free parking spots, or those charged parking spots like they do showers. Let me use one of my shower credits for a parking spot. Or if I buy over 130 gallons, give me a free parking spot if they want to reward their customers. Or if I spend so much in the shop, let me have a free parking spot. I get that they don't want a bunch of freeloaders in there dumping trash in the parking lot and not spending any money. But by golly, if I spend $600 or $700 on fuel, is it going to really kill them to let me park there for the night? That's just what I think they should do. But they have no incentive to change everything because we as truck drivers are accepting it the way it is. Yeah, sometimes Mudflap is better. Sometimes ES Advantage is better. DIY's card beats both ES and Mudflap a few places I go. Well, there you go. So you're getting the best of all the worlds. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about it. I may have to look into it. When I was leased, I checked out XPO, RTS, Mudflap, and Open Roads. I bought from whoever was the cheapest, less IFTA price. Yeah, midlife, that's the way to do it. Get as many as you can get and don't have any brand loyalty on these cards. Get them all and use them all. That's why I give so many options in the description of my video. You can click on the title and it'll drop down the description of this video and you'll see several options, Mudflap, ES Advantage, all of that there, because the more options you got, the easier it is to save. Dirty Diesel says, I agree, midlife. I buy the cheapest price since company I'm leased to covers my IFTA. Yeah, there you go. Golden Corral, there's only one pilot flying. There's only one in Pilot Flying J. You can filter the restaurant by the restaurant option. All right, thanks. I appreciate that. Must be 2 Flying J's with Golden Corral. Definitely one in Virginia. I don't know. The only thing I'm trying to think of how you could both be right. And I know some of those Pilot Flying J's are privately owned. And maybe some of the privately owned ones, it doesn't show in the app. Or maybe they just recently put it in there. I'm not sure. But both of you are really credible guys, and I believe both of you. I'm trying to reconcile it in my head. Midlife says there's only one showing on the app, and Tim says he knows for a fact there's one in Virginia. So that's all I can think is maybe one of them's privately owned and doesn't show on the app or something like that. But why would you recommend them when you said they screwed over the guys that came after you, like the guy with the transmission issues or the title issues? I think you misunderstood. Let me explain that, because that's a good one, Alaska. I did not say they screwed anybody over. All 3 of us had trouble getting our titles transferred, and it was just because one of us was in Kentucky, one of us was in Indiana, and I was in Texas, and there was some title transfer issues. It wasn't because there was anything funny about the title or anything like that. In my case, it was they misunderstood and sent the title to the wrong office in Lubbock. There's only one office in Lubbock that does commercial titles. I'm not sure on the other 2 what their issues were. I think one of them, the guy didn't know how to do it, and he was trying to get his company to title the truck for him or something. That's been a big deal. The transmission issues, if that guy's in here, he can talk on that. I don't think it turned out to be much. Nobody that I'm aware of has gone down because of a transmission issue. But we all 3 had title issues, different things. Mine was having trouble getting the state inspection in Texas. The dealership said they put brand new brakes on the truck, and they did, but they weren't properly adjusted. And so they wore my rotors funny. And the shop that was doing the state inspection thought I had brake and rotor problems when all I needed was a brake adjustment. So what I would say about that, it's why I'm not totally recommending them. I'm just saying that all the issues I had with them has been resolved. So I don't have anything bad to say about them anymore. They contacted me today probably 3 times. We had very productive conversations. They apologized to me. They explained to me what went wrong. And most importantly, they paid me every penny they owed me instantly. I asked them to apply it to my to my truck loan, which up until this point wasn't something they could do. Today they did that, so I got that money instantly. And I'm just saying that when somebody apologizes, if me and Alaska go out in a truck stop parking lot and we have a fist fight, and 2 days later he calls me and apologizes, we're good again. But if we don't apologize and somebody runs into me and says, "What do you think about Alaska?" and I go, "Well, Alaska punched me 3 days ago. I'm not liking him too much right now." So it just depends on where we're at in the deal. It's like me and Coach. It's apologies have been said, things have been worked out, so we don't have any bad blood between us anymore. And I'm not a grudge holder. If we get the problem fixed and we can move on from it, then we move on from it. Occasionally, there's been 2 or 3 guys that what they did was so severe we couldn't work through it, and we had to go our separate ways. But I'm still making payments on this truck. I've still got this truck, and they've paid me every penny they owe me. So I'm just saying, if your only reason for not buying a truck from them was because of how they did Trucker Todd, that's been resolved. If you want to get a truck from somewhere else, I'll recommend other places for you. I don't have a dog in that fight. But yeah, I don't know. It's my first truck I'd actually bought from a dealership. I don't know how common title issues are. It may be something that happens on every truck deal. Several people have reached out to me and said, "Yeah, when I bought my truck, I had trouble getting the title transferred too." But it's taken care of now. And so I felt like I should share that with you. The thing I don't want to have happen is me not tell y'all, and then you call Avery and you're like yelling at him, "Why don't you make things right with Trucker Todd?" And he's going, "We settled that 2 months ago." You see what I'm saying? It's not fair for me to keep throwing rocks at somebody that's made amends and tried to do the right thing. Honestly, I don't care where any of you buy a truck. I just want you to get a good one and make money. If you want to contact Avery, great. If you want to contact somebody else that I recommend, that's great. If you want to do your own research and find your own place, that's great too. But the transmission issues, I'm not sure what that one is. I did have a guy that he was complaining about his truck, and all it was there wasn't a power wire going from his inverter to his battery. I thought that was really minor. I would have just went to a truck stop and bought a wire and put it on myself. Heck, you can make a wire with jumper cables. John Toohey is here, channel member. Made it late, but I'm here nonetheless. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Been a lot going on. You'll want to catch the replay. I'm catching a lot of flack because Cordell made things right with me today. And a lot of people think I should still trash them, still talk bad about them. And I gave the news about the Corvette and the Kenworth. It's not great. And I was talking about the very last sales manager I worked with when I sold cars. He was on life support for a while, almost died, and he's walking with a cane and disabled now. So I was kind of shocked to find that out and disappointed. I talked to him a little bit last night and wished him the best. I didn't realize time flies. I didn't realize it'd been several years since I'd even talked to him. Paid parking points go as high as 4 or 5 times per gallon. Plus, you don't need a paid spot every day. TA Petro will allow you to use Ultra One credits for parking, shower, or meal. That's true, but let's take that same scenario. Let's say you get 5 times the points. You have to fill up twice to get a paid parking, and those are supposed to be reward points. Getting a parking spot's not a reward. It's a federal requirement. So I get what you're saying, but I don't think that's sufficient. I think if you fill up, you should be able to use it for a shower or a paid parking spot. And I realize that's dreaming. It's never going to happen. I also realize that this may be kind of like the E-log thing, that you and me may never agree on it. That's okay. And you say that you don't need a paid spot every day. I would say it depends on what part of the country you run. If you're in the Northeast all the time, you might need a paid spot every day. Hey, channel member Robbie Ross is here. Hey, Todd, how are you, my friend? Hello from Cuba. Hello, sir. Thank you for being here. Tim Back says Golden Corral is at Flying J and Ruther Glen, Virginia. There you go. Okay, he clarifies it here. He says it doesn't show on the Pilot app, but Google it and it's there. Midlife says regarding Golden Corral, just check the app. If you tell a chicken dip snuff, check under the wing. Okay, I didn't get that one, Midlife. If you tell a chicken dips snuff, check under the wing for the box. Tim says, Tom, I know you're a smart guy, but I assure you I'm right about this. Well, Tim, Golden Corral's website shows only in Virginia, Lynchboro, and Waynesboro. Both are standalone. Maybe the other one is closed. Did you get the title transferred? I'm assuming you're talking about my truck, Gary. Yeah, a long time ago. I had to do that to get the tags, but it did almost take 2 weeks. And it was something I hoped to accomplish in a couple of days. So, yeah, everything worked out. That was never the issue. It was frustrating in the beginning. It definitely hurt my finances, taking 2 weeks instead of a couple of days. But the issue was they owed me $500, and it took a long time to get that money. But today I got the 3 things I was looking for. I got an apology. I got an explanation. So apology, explanation, and I got payment. So those 3 things together were the recipe for a solution. So I can't come on here and badmouth somebody that has fixed everything they ever did wrong to me. And I know that upsets y'all. Some of you want me to pick a fight with companies that, yeah, they made a mistake, but they made it right. It's like I've told y'all a couple of times my paychecks have been wrong, but I never make a video about it because Scott immediately fixes it. Yeah, you're right. I'll fix it right now. One time I called him. I thought there was a mistake, and the mistake was I read it wrong. He goes, hey, Todd, it's on page 2. I said, well, let me pull over and look at it. So I pulled over. I pulled up the PDF. He said, go to page 2. I went to page 2. He said, look in this section. It's the second line. Sure enough, it was there. So I had to say, hey, you know what, Scott? I'm sorry. I was wrong. I didn't see it. I looked twice. I missed it both times. And he's like, oh, it's no problem. So did I make a video about it? No, I was wrong. The times that he's made a payroll mistake, he made a video, he fixed it immediately. So there's no need to make a video because no harm, no foul. You guys do this with relatives all the time. You have a relative that wrongs you and they apologize and you accept their apology because you don't want to have a weird Christmas or a weird Thanksgiving. You just want to all get along. So you guys might not believe this, but I don't like conflict. I wish we could all just get along. And I'm looking for a reason to make peace. I've asked some of my biggest critics and some of my biggest trolls. I'm like, let's sit down at a table. Let's talk this stuff out. Let's work it out. And they've told me privately, Todd, we don't want to work it out. We get a lot of clicks off of picking fights with you and putting your name in the title of our videos. And so you can't make peace with people like that. But I'm not going to shine a light on a cockroach either and give them airtime and give them publicity and things like that. If companies that I've got a beef with want to work things out, then we'll work things out. And I'll come on here and tell you, just like I told you when they messed up, I'll come back here and tell you when they make it right. And I'm telling you, as of about 10 minutes before the show came on, me and Cordell and River Valley Capital and everybody, we came to an understanding. We came to an apology. And I told them, I said, I'm going to make an announcement that we've worked everything out tonight. I'm still not going to recommend you guys, but I'm not going to badmouth you either. If somebody wants to go there, I'll put them in contact with you. That's where we're at right now. Now, if somebody else goes there, buys a truck, and something goes sideways, maybe I announce that again. Maybe I contact them, say, hey, I thought we had an understanding. So, but I'm not going to just trash people for the sake of trashing people. I'm going to come on here and tell you the truth. And some of you don't come on here wanting to hear the truth. You come on here wanting drama, and this ain't a drama channel. This is a news and opinion channel. It's what it's always been, and I'm going to keep it that way just as long as I can. Midlife says Flying J number 876 in Rutherford Glen, Virginia, has a Wendy's. See, I don't go up there enough to argue with either one of you. I just don't know. Ah, this is good. Adam was in law enforcement. He says in Kansas, any theft over $1,000 is a felony. Adam, I'm glad you're here because you're the person I want to ask about this. If someone stole $500 worth of diesel with a credit card, even if it wasn't a felony, would the police still investigate it and either make an arrest or issue a ticket or something like that? That'd be a great question for Adam. He was a sheriff's deputy and he would know. Or does it specifically depend on the county and the state? But if you feel better, you could just talk about your area of Kansas. If I stole $500 worth of diesel in Kansas, would you guys write me a ticket or arrest me, or would it have to be a felony and over $1,000 before y'all would do anything? Hey, old Swift buddy. Hey, Ronnie Person. I'm glad you're here. I hadn't seen you in a long time. Glad you made it in. We had somebody asking about Swift earlier in the deal. How's things going over there right now? Alaska says, I was just trying to figure out why you'd recommend them. I didn't mean to throw you any flack. I got it, Alaska. And that's what I say. I'm in a weird spot right now because I'm not recommending them per se. I've had probably 6 people tell me, and I know Avery told me today, he's had 2 or 3 people that just ghosted him all of a sudden, and he thinks it was over this deal. And so you had my 6 and his 3, that's 9 people that are saying that they're reluctant to buy a truck from them because of this conflict we had going on. And I'm just saying that I'm not recommending anybody right now. I'm saying that if the only reason you weren't buying a truck from them was because you felt they did me wrong, that beef has been squashed, and you can now make a decision based on if you like their equipment, if you like the deal they're offering, things like that. That's all I'm doing. And I went back and erased Avery's number out of a lot of my videos. So the reason I'm posting the number in the ticker is in case guys deleted the number, don't have the number. From what I understand, there's a couple of Cordell truck sales if you Google it, and I'm trying to make sure that people go to the right one. But I agree with you. It's way too early. Way too early for me to recommend them. I'm just saying, don't let me be the reason you don't talk to them if that's the reason you're not getting a truck from them. Red Raider says, hey, Trucker Todd, going back to work on Monday. That's awesome, man. How's your hand doing? And are you able to bang, bang, bang yet, or do you have to wait a little longer? Are you able to use that item that's in your profile picture that I can't say the name of on here for fear that there'll be YouTube repercussions? Yeah, that's cool on the title. I couldn't come to work at SRO till I got it straight, so that's why I was under the gun. And Texas gives you, I guess all states do, they give you a printout receipt, and there's a number on there he needs before you can go to work. And so, yeah, I got it handled, but it took close to 2 weeks instead of being a 2 or 3 day deal like it should have been. And the other 2 guys experienced similar situations. Now, that doesn't itself mean that you have a dishonest dealership. That could mean you have a title clerk that's new maybe she knows how to do it in Iowa, but there's some states she's less familiar with. And so it was frustrating, but it's not a mark of dishonesty. But when you pile it with the other things I was dealing with, it was reason for concern. Now all that's water under the bridge, and it becomes a minor deal again. Glad to hear your bird dogs were settled and reimbursed. Being in the car business a long time like you, somebody in management saw it the right way. Thumbs up to Avery. I'm sure he saw through it. Yeah. People that have sold cars or been in the car business, Robbie understands what the significance of this was and why it's a big deal. It's really it's not even really about the money. It's about the principle. And I said several times, I don't even care if they pay me. I just want them to say, yes, we're going to pay you, or no, we're not. And it was even hard to get that information for a long time. But once they apologize and make things right, I feel like I'm kicking a dead horse at that point. I at least got to come on here and tell you they did the right thing. And then you can make your own decision about them. But for me, all that's erased, and we're back to the beginning now, where we're all going to formulate our own opinions about them. How much does Avery pay for referrals? So I honestly don't know. Back when I sent 2 people there, it was $250 a person. But I don't even know if they're doing referrals anymore. It never figured into the equation. I never even asked him today. It's not my business model. If somebody wants to call in and tell them I referred them, that's fine. If they want to pay me, great. If they don't, but I don't. It's not part of the equation. I give my real life experience with stuff, and then people do what they want to do. Tim and Midlife are still going back and forth on Flying J and Golden Corral. I'm not going to debate any more about it, but I've eaten there a few times, and I was in Flying J, and it was a Golden Corral. Well, I think that there's one fair way to settle this. I need to get Tim and Midlife to agree to this. The next time I see a Golden Corral, one of you should buy my dinner, whether you're there or not. So there's one about 5 miles from my house. I would be careful agreeing to that deal, but I think the only way for this argument to be settled is both of you to buy my dinner at, if my wife goes with me, that'd be 2 meals. One of you could buy my dinner, one of you could buy her dinner, and I could go eat at Golden Corral. Watch this one. I found it. There's a Golden Corral in Flying J at Rutherford Glen. It is a franchise Golden Corral and is separately owned. I was wrong. Wow. Well, that stinks because there went my free meal at Golden Corral. So there you go, Tim. Midlife has conceded, and you have won the debate. I hope there's no hard feelings. I hope it was all in good fun, but now we've got some clarification on that. 6 weeks of work and time to get back in the groove. There you go. John Tui, channel member, says, hello, Tim. Tim says, hello, John. I'm reading these for those that might be wondering. A lot of people are listening while they're driving. They can't see the screen. So I try to put all the comments up and read them so that if you're cruising down the highway, you are a part of the show, even if you can't type comments. Midlife says, I've sent feedback to Pilot Flying J asking for it to be corrected in the app. There you go. So, see, Midlife is a perfect example of what I was talking about. He realized that he was mistaken on some information. He admitted he was wrong to Tim. And on top of that, he submitted information to Pilot Flying J to try to get it fixed. So there's no more confusion in the future between drivers about what restaurants are where. Now, having said that, should I come on here for the next 2 months and go, oh, y'all remember when Midlife was wrong about this? There's really this or that. Or has Midlife made it right and we should just drop it and move on? I think Midlife did everything correctly. I think it shows a lot of maturity on his part to admit that he was wrong or mistaken. He wasn't wrong. He was mistaken. And I think it shows maturity that he sent a message to Pilot Flying J trying to get it corrected. I think it's mature on Tim's part to accept his apology, forgive him, and that we're all able to move on from it. Nobody's mad saying, I'm going to quit the channel. I'm not watching no more. They're not threatening to fight each other the next time they see each other at a truck stop. This is two grown men behaving like grown men. And that's all that me and Cordell are doing. This is a bunch of grown men and women involved in this. And we had a very productive set of phone calls today where they told me what happened and where the confusion was. I accepted their apology. And then they basically said, what have we got to do to make this right? I told them what I'd like to see. They said, that sounds reasonable. And that's what we did. So that takes them out of the area of dishonest companies that are trying to screw people over. And it puts them in the category where we can look at them now with an open mind. Now, did they do it because of the YouTube channel? There's some of you that are going to say yes. There's some of you that are going to say, no, they just did it to shut you up. I don't know which is true. Either way, I'm glad they did the right thing. I'm honestly glad it's resolved. That's one less stress on my plate. I wish my YouTube channel was powerful enough to get my Corvette out of the shop and sold, and it was powerful enough to get my Kenworth out of the shop and rolling down the highway. But honestly, I mean, I'm not doing a victory lap or nothing like that. It's just I'm glad this conflict is settled. Me and Avery have talked on the phone 2 or 3 times today, very friendly to each other. And I mean, it'd be dishonest of me to come on here and tell you there's some drama or disagreement at this point when there's not. Yes, I went shooting yesterday and I'm going again Saturday. Well, good deal, man. I'm glad you're back to your old self. I want to say one more thing about that. Do you remember, this is going to get me in trouble, that place you work, and please don't say the name on here, the security guards at the guard shack used to have a personality and be real friendly. They got some new people in there that just have no personality at all. Have you noticed that? Tim says it's all good, but I don't insist unless I'm 100% about it. Yeah, I'm the same way. Unless I'm sure, I'll say I'm not sure, but I think. But if I'm sure, I'll kind of hold my ground. I'm just glad we kind of figured it out what it was, because that is weird that it didn't show up in the app. And I figured it was like a franchise store or something like that. Red Raider says his hand's still tender, but it will be for over a year. I overdone it when Mom died and shoveled dirt on her grave. The next day, my hands hurt for 2 days. Yeah, I sympathize with you, man. I've been through what you're going through. I know I hate when people say that, but my mom died in March of 2017. I think about it every day. I get it. I really do. But the good thing is, if I run into you at your work now, you can't punch me for a while. Arizona Diamondbacks take down Philly in the bottom of the 9th. Well, there you go. My dad's a Rangers fan, a big Rangers fan. Abandon is here. Hello, everyone. If they don't fix it, should I email Warren Buffett? No, what you should do, Midlife, make a series of videos about it. Go to Tennessee to Pilot Flying J headquarters and demand answers. Do some investigative reporting. Take your drone and fly it over their headquarters. Get aerial shots. And I've found a phrase that works really well. Try this when you're there. Don't you know who I am? And if they still don't cooperate, invite each and every one of them in that office to step outside. Tell them you got something for them. And video that too. It'll be hilarious. Channel member Corey Oatley. I'm very pleased that the Great Golden Corral controversy is over. Yeah, we should have sequestered those two and had like a three-way video call and put it on the members only channel, and people would have to be like a pay-per-view and they could debate it out. The problem that you have is we're dealing with two mature guys that are level-headed and reasonable. So just like, I hate to keep bringing up Midlife, I'm pretty impressed with him. We disagree a lot, but I still like him because he really thought he was correct. And instead of just sticking to the narrative, he went back and did some research and saw that Tim had a point. And then he come back and admitted and tried to make it right. I think, and you guys feel free to disagree with me, I think trucking would be better if we had more Tim backs and more midlife truckers out here, because it's okay for us all to disagree on stuff. But when we find out things are different, or when we find out there's a chance we're wrong, or even if we don't, even if this, video ended tonight and they still disagreed, the next time we had a video, they could come together, still put good comments in. We could still talk, things like that. We need more Tim backs and midlife truckers in trucking, because I'm real impressed with both of them tonight, to be pretty honest. I like the way they handled this. Red Raider says, I'll send you a picture of one of my rifle groups at 100 yards. I pulled a shot and screwed up my best group for 5 shots. 4 shots in one hole. 1 went out to the right. That's still pretty darn good, though. Size went to a 38 and a 360 to a 366. Wow. That's pretty dead on, man. That's not bad. Why recommend them at all if they don't even pay for referrals? I wouldn't want someone buying a truck from them and then blaming me if something goes wrong. These comments are where it gets frustrating. And this is kind of why I was talking about midlife and Tim back so much. People want to say stuff to fit a narrative. I've said at least 3 times in this video, I'm not recommending them. I'm not recommending them. I'm not recommending them. All I'm doing is setting the record straight. They've made right with me. I've spent 2 months saying how they, screwed me over. They've made it right. I'm just saying that. I also said I don't care if you buy a truck from them, from somebody else, if you stay a company driver your whole life. I'm going to help you regardless. So you want to, you keep wanting to say I'm recommending them. You keep asking me how much the referrals are. I told you I didn't ask. It's not factored in. When people say, Todd, where'd you get your truck? What am I supposed to say? I have to tell them a place. You want me to lie about the dealership I got it from? I mean, what am I supposed to do? If you want to call Avery and not mention my name, that's fine. Call Avery. Don't mention my name. I really don't care. Does it help me if I get $250? Sure, $250 helps anybody. Am I going to lose any sleep over it if you don't? Nah, I don't care. That's not what makes me me. I'm just telling you they made things right with me. If you ask me where I bought my truck, I'm telling you where I bought my truck. You want to get one from somewhere else? I've got 3 other good suggestions. After that, it's up to you, but I'm not recommending them. I don't know why you keep saying that. I don't know how to make it any clearer than that. I guess I can put in the ticker at the bottom, I don't recommend them, but that's not true. I'm neutral now. I even said in the video, I'm going to spend the next couple of months judging. Do I think there's somebody I could recommend again or not? I'm leaving it up to everybody else. I mentioned there's about 9 people I know of that specifically said they're not buying a truck from them because of what happened to me. It's unfair to those 9 people to not tell them when things have been rectified so they can make a decision. Odds are those 9 people have already bought a truck somewhere else. But if they're still on the market and they're saying, I'm sitting on the fence till I see what happened to Trucker Todd, then I've got a duty to tell them Trucker Todd's been taken care of. It's good now. And as for them blaming me if something goes wrong, you guys, if any of you has ever done a lease purchase, you know that you can inspect a truck as much as you want, and breakdowns are still going to happen. Things can still go wrong. Nothing's bad on me. I'm not there inspecting the truck. If somebody gets a truck they're not happy with, it's their job to inspect it. It's their job to have a mechanic look at it if they want to. I'm only answering the question where I bought my truck. That's it. Where did you buy your truck, Todd? If you ask me where I bought my pickup, I'll tell you. It's a place in Lubbock, Carlisle Motors. Do I recommend buying a vehicle there? Well, they wouldn't sell to most of you because you're out of state. So, no, for most of you, I don't. But I had a good experience there. I bought 2 or 3 cars there. So, I don't get it sometimes. You guys want a narrative that's not there. You're looking for things that aren't there. Oh, Todd's at home. He must have had a wreck. No, Todd's truck's in the shop. I've showed you the receipt, but that's not what you guys want to hear. So you keep making up this fake narrative, and it's just stupid and childish, honestly. Did you offer to put this Kenworth fixed by on the sides? No, maybe I should have. Maybe I wouldn't have got clobbered in labor. I feel like they're raping me on the labor. Yes, they have a few security people that have the personality of a fire hydrant. It's a shame. Do you remember that Spanish lady that used to work there, that she drove a black Ford Fusion? And then there was the kind of real skinny older white girl that had the glasses that drove that little white car. And I think the Santa Claus guy's still there, but they were fun. And then there's a kind of a chubby black guy that looks like the dad on Family Matters. He used to work out there. He's got a great personality. I was hoping to see those guys last time I was there, but I don't think none of them are there anymore. Next debate, Springfield, Missouri does have overnight parking. It has full restrooms available and vending machines. There's a coffee breakfast mobile trailer on site. Oh, there you go. I thought that was there, but I'm glad you was able to verify it and make sure. Midlife says, why doesn't any truck stop have a Hooters in it? I checked all of the apps. Yeah, Midlife makes a great point. It would be an excellent job promotion for the lot lizards. They can't patrol the lots anymore, so they could serve you hamburgers and cold onion rings. Skyline says, hello, Todd. Hey, thanks for being here, man. Skyline has been everywhere but the electric chair this week. He's putting some miles on his truck. He is working hard. He's been everywhere but the electric chair and seen everything but the wind. If truck stops had Hooters, we'd be spending all of our money there, LOL. Yeah, it'd be frustrating because most of us ain't got any money right now. Because truck drivers are too perverted for Hooters. Oh, yeah, and sadly, see, you guys are thinking that the Hooters would have girls like other Hooters have. It'd be the same old crusty 70-year-old waitresses that they had in the Country Pride when Flying J had those. Now in Hooters shorts and Hooters tops wandering around. Midlife says, hell, I called the Golden Corral. There you go. See if you can get the Hooters girls to work at the Golden Corral. How about that? Maturity, research, and facts would go a long way to making everything better, says channel member Corey Oatley. Nice job, gentlemen. Yes, sir. I've known Tim back a little longer, so I knew what kind of guy Tim was. But I'm just getting to know Midlife, and I like him better every week. I'm learning a lot about him. He's pretty solid, too. Like I said, Midlife and Tim are a lot alike in a lot of ways. We disagree on some stuff, but not to the point where we can't be friends or work together. Just we just disagree, and that's fine. That I like that, because when you have somebody that disagrees with you and they can do it intelligently, like Tim Back and Midlife both, they can debate me intellectually. They don't call and go, "Oh, Todd, you're stupid. Oh, Todd, you're ugly." They give their points, why they feel like they do. And you never know, in a situation like that where they're that articulate and honestly that smart, they might change my mind. Now, I might change their mind too, but it's going to take a lot of work, because they're both smart, they're both well researched, and for the most part, they know what they're talking about. The good thing about them is, if they're wrong, they'll say, "Hey, I was wrong. It's this way," and then we're good. I've found the older I get, the easier it is to forgive people. People that call me and they go, "Hey, Todd, I'm sorry." Uh, it's hard for me to be mad at them. No, they call and they go, "Todd, you're a jerk and you're stupid, and I don't care if you're right. Still, F you and all this." Then I don't care about those people. But somebody that says, "Hey, Todd, you know what? I thought about it. I still disagree with you, but I hope we can remain friends." It's hard not to respect them. It's hard not to be friends with them, even if I don't agree with everything they say. So we've got a whole bunch of people like that in this group. We've got a whole lot of Tim Backs and midlife truckers in here that they're really good people. Red Raider Reloading's another good guy. John Toohey's another good guy. Ramon's a good guy. We've got a lot of them in here. And I know I'm leaving a lot of names out, but we're really fortunate to have the kind of caliber of people we got in here. I also went back and checked just in case they went out of business, but they are still open. LOL. You both should get profit sharing from them, because they're probably going to have an uptick in traffic because y'all debated it on here. Yeah, I saw Santa Claus the other day, and he wasn't as friendly as he used to be. Maybe I caught him on a bad day or something. He used to remember me, and he'd be like, "Hey, Todd, what's up?" And this time he saw me, and he just like, I don't know what's going on. You never know what people's got going on in their personal life. Reason why I was saying you're recommending them, because you put them in your ticker. Sorry for the hard questions. I just wanted to know because you talk so poorly of them. So the reason they're in the ticker, and I covered that earlier in the video too, I deleted them off of all the old videos. So if there's no longer a beef there, and I've got 9 drivers that had already filled out an application, we're getting ready to buy a truck from them, then I'm putting that number up as a courtesy, because there's several Cordells if you Google them on the internet. So that's why I did that. There's no recommendation there. It's just a courtesy. Quite honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. It's supposed to help me, because if I don't put it in the ticker, then I get 600 emails. How do I contact Cordell? Where'd you get your truck? If I put it in the ticker, I'm hoping to eliminate some of the emails, because I get more than I can handle, quite honestly, most of the time. So I'm trying to simplify things a little bit, but I'm not recommending them. I promise you, I'm neutral on them now. I've erased all the bad they did towards me, and I'll put their number up there for a few weeks. I may take it down at some point, but somebody that was on the fence, if the only reason they weren't buying a truck there was because of me, I'm telling them, don't let that be what stops you. Look at their deal. If it's bad, don't do it. If you don't like the truck they're offering you, don't do it. But if it looks like something that'll work for you, or it's the only place that'll approve you, then do it. If you want to help me out, give them my name. They may or may not give me a referral bonus. If you don't want to mention me, you're worried I might make something out of it, then don't mention me. I'll never know. Avery will never know. And you'll still get a truck. Do what you think's best for you. I've been accused of everything tonight, from only making $75 a month off of YouTube to, pimping companies I don't really like, to, I don't know. I don't get it. The Spanish girl quit over 2 years or so ago, as well as the older lady with the glasses. Yeah, I was still working for the company I was working for when they quit. But I was, sometimes they'll quit and come back. I was hoping somebody like that would be in there. But I remember it was always fun to check out with them because they would joke around with you and, ask you where you was going. And shoot, they'd even check the weather for me because they knew I was going to Taos, New Mexico. They'd be like, hey, it's supposed to snow up there. Be careful. I'll be like, yeah, I'll be careful. But yeah, it's and that one guy, the black guy I was talking about that looks like the dad on Family Matters. Me and him joked around a lot too. He was a good dude. So I just hated to see all were gone. John too, he says, Alaska, that horse is dead. Man, I hope so. We got plenty of other things to be worked up about in trucking. Finally, my day has come to an end, but still here. Thank you, Ted. I appreciate it. Craig Hutch, I forgot to mention, John Toohey is also a channel member. Let's see. Hey, Trucker Todd. Hey, Craig Hutchinson. Thank you for coming in. All right, I appreciate it, Alaska. And I'm not mad at you. I get why you're asking, but it's I think that's part of the problem is that everybody sees what goes on here, but they don't see what goes on in the emails and in some of the chats. And I get accused of everything you could possibly imagine. And it's just not the case. I can't tell you how many times in the past 2 weeks I've answered, have you had an accident? And I always answer back the same, yes, I did back in April. And that's the truth. The trolls seem to think there's something else. And I'm saying, show it. Let's see the police report. Show me what you got. And so far, nothing's come up. It only exists in their imagination. Maybe they're wishing I would have an accident. Right now, it's pretty impossible because my truck's in the shop. I've gone into great detail on the videos about what repairs are being made. Just went on the Convoy app, no loads available. I deleted the app. Yeah, I'm going to have to do that too. And did you use them a lot? I never did really use them much. I was thinking they were one of your favorites. See, his mind thinks like mine. He already answered me. Their rates sucked anyway. I never booked a load with them because every time I did, they lowballed me. Oh, I was thinking you booked a lot with them. I'm glad you weren't tied up with them. We'll have to ask Scott. I don't know that many of our drivers used them very much. I was thinking he told me one of his drivers used them quite a bit. Same thing on used vehicles. They're mechanical. Exactly. I've told this story, and I guess I need to tell it again. Now, this was back a long time ago. I'm talking mid-90s. No, it was earlier than that, probably 94. I had a guy show up on the lot. He said, it was a used car lot. He said, I want the nicest car on this lot. He said, I'm buying it for my wife. I want the nicest car on this lot. We had just got in a Mercury Cougar, an 89 Mercury Cougar. So it's 4 or 5 years old. But I mean, it was freaking nice. Loaded out, V8 engine, leather seats. I took it to lunch that day. Super nice car. I took him over, showed it to him. I said, sir, I promise you, I wouldn't be afraid to drive this car anywhere in the country. He took it for a test drive, came back. Yep, I want it. It's a great car. He took it home that night. The next morning, I get a phone call. Hey, Todd, the nicest car on your lot blew an engine last night. And I started laughing. I ain't going to lie. I was like, no way. You're joking. You're messing with me. No, Todd, I promise. It blew an engine. I said, all right. I said, let me make a phone call and I'll call you back. I ended up getting him a brand new engine put in that car. I would have swore that was the best car on our lot, and it didn't make it 24 hours. And the same thing, what you don't realize if you don't work at a dealership, and Robbie knows what I'm talking about. If you work at a dealership, cars come in and go out so fast. You might look at them as best as you can, fix everything you can, but you're going to miss stuff. And same thing with the dealership. you call Avery or any other shop or dealership, say, I want the nicest truck on your lot. He might go out there, look it over. Man, Todd, this is the nicest truck we got here. I wouldn't be afraid to go anywhere in the country with it. This is a moneymaker. You might break down on the test drive. You might break down on the first load you pull with it. You just don't know. It doesn't mean you're dishonest. It doesn't mean you're trying to screw people. But just like Robbie said, they're mechanical. Stuff breaks. Usually it doesn't give you a warning before it breaks. Sometimes it does. Are there dealerships that hide problems? Absolutely. I've known dealerships that would blow out, check engine lights and stuff so that you wouldn't see the problems the car had. I also knew dealerships that would spend a lot of money to fix those things. They're just like people. Some of them's got better ethics than others. But here I was telling this guy, promising this guy, this was the best car on our lot. And I really believed it. Here I am over almost 30 years later telling you, I still believe that was the best car on the lot. And I don't know, maybe he was driving it bad that night. Maybe the people that sold us had done something to it. But I know I felt obligated to make it right. And I went to bat for him. And I got a new engine put in that car for him. So by the end of the deal, and I gave him a loaner car while we did it. So by the end of that deal, he did have the best car on our lot. And he didn't run around going, oh, Todd's a jerk and Todd ripped me off. He knew, because I laughed when he told me. I'm like, nah, you're messing with me. And he's like, no, Todd, I'm serious. And some of it was his attitude. He called me. He wasn't saying, hey, I'm going to come up there and beat you up. Or I had that happen before, too. I repoed a car and guy followed me back to the car lot, and we had a good old-fashioned fist fight in the car lot. But that's a different story. This guy, he was tactful. He's like, I don't know what happened, but we were driving it last night and the engine blew. And so I wanted to help him, and it worked out good. And as a result of that, I sold a lot more cars. They'd bring their friends and stuff like that because I took care of him. And same thing here. That's what I'm trying to get everybody to understand. That do I still have a warm, fuzzy feeling about the whole thing? No, it's going to be a long road before I'll full-fledged recommend them again. But if the only reason you don't want to buy a car from them is because what they did to me, that ship has sailed. That thing's been took care of. And that's all I'm doing is making that announcement. I told y'all a month ago, hey, if we ever resolve this, I'll let you know. And that's all I'm doing is keeping a promise. Yep, stuff breaks. It sure does. Convoy has some cheap loads. They would have a decent load here and there, but I regret it now, LOL. Yeah, they also had a lot of short stuff. So I would look on there if I needed a 200-mile load or something. But usually I'd call them with the rate, and they'd be like, oh, no, we're half that. I'm like, never mind. You're thinking of Coyote. So it's Coyote that you pull a lot of their stuff. So I did that at the start of the show, probably in the first 10 or 15 minutes. I realized that was 2.5 hours ago, so I'll go ahead and mention it again. Just real quick, I don't want to torture people that's been here the whole time. The Corvette, they're saying probably Monday or Tuesday. They're gouging me bad. They're wanting $611 to put it back together. I feel like I'm getting raped in that deal. There's going to be some behind the scenes stuff that happens, and I'll provide y'all with updates with how it goes. Kenworth, they're still waiting on parts, and the girl's trying to find out when they're supposed to be here. She was supposed to call me back. I don't think she has, but I don't really know and I won't know till the show ends because my phone's on Do Not Disturb. Let me see if I've got a text message or something. Oh, Larry sent me his target. Wow, that's pretty good, Larry. Sorry. Good grief, I've got a lot of messages while we're going through this. Yeah, they did provide me the service records that they had for my truck. I hadn't got them from the dealership. I mean, where it's at now, that dealership. But I did get them from the dealership where I bought the truck. but all it showed was the stuff they had done to it. It was a Hirschbach truck prior to that, and I've got the truck number of what it was at Hirschbach, and I have reached out to Hirschbach trying to get that information, and I've been unsuccessful to get it so far, but I am still working on it. It's just nice to have, if you have a, going back to Gary's comment, if you have a breakdown and they say, well, we need to replace this, you can look at that service history and go, well, that was done 3 months ago, and they can scratch that off the list. Well, it probably doesn't need that then. It probably needs this. So I do like to have the service records, and I'm still working on getting that. Last case scenario, if I can't get them any other way, I'll do a rig dig, but I don't expect a rig dig to show a lot if Hirschbach did most of the repairs. Tim has a great point here. I don't care how much time you spend inspecting any vehicle. It can break down a mile down the road. Mechanical is always a risk. Alaska Hall says it's scary buying newer trucks with emissions. You never know what could go wrong. Yeah, but I would say the same risk is there for an older truck. So let's say me and Alaska sit down at my laptop here, and we get on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and we find a truck that we really like. And then me and Alaska, we go hop in my pickup. We drive to Midland, Odessa, or Amarillo, or wherever the truck is, and we inspect it. I mean, we climb all over that truck. Spend 3 hours looking at everything. And me and Alaska talk about it, and we decide, yep, that's a great truck. We're going to buy that truck. I mean, a lot of those trucks on there, especially the auction ones, the guys have problems with the truck, and you're buying their problem, and they've masked the problem to where you don't find it till later. So, for example, bobtail, it doesn't overheat, but you put a load on it and it overheats. Or it's got a turbo that's going out, but you don't really hear it till the turbos get hot or something like that. So it's just anytime you buy a used anything, and I'd throw houses or any big ticket item in there, there's always a way to hide stuff, and there's a little bit of chance taken there. And so you just have to, some of it's luck, some of it's experience, and sometimes you just never know. Well, you always never know. Service records are only as good as the date entry on it. There are always things that won't show up. Yeah, and Tim makes another great point I want to talk about for just a second. You have a lot of guys in trucking, like the owner of the company I work for, Scott, that they're very mechanically inclined. I bet Alaska's a lot like this. I know DIY Semi's like this. If Alaska has, or if DIY Semi or Scott, or probably even Alaska, if they have an alternator go out, they run down to the parts house, get an alternator, stick it on themselves. It doesn't show on any maintenance report. And so there can be stuff that's done to a truck that still don't show up when you do all that stuff. Or at least if something breaks on an older truck, it's something worth fixing. Yeah, but it's also harder to get parts. I was talking to a YouTuber, it's been 2 or 3 months ago. He bought an old truck, like an old Ford Aeromax. And he was talking about how hard it is to get the simplest of parts if something breaks. Now I believe it had a Cummins in it, if I remember correctly. He could get engine parts, but a bird hit his grill and cracked his grill, and he spent like 3 months looking for another grill and just things like that. So, and the parts are generally, some parts are cheaper, some are a lot higher. Maybe it had a cat in it. I don't remember. It's been a while since I talked to him. I need to call him. My Kenworth truck had a new engine put in it in 2019, 2020. Checked 2 reports, showed nothing. Peterbilt service writer found info on PACCAR. I called Kenworth, and they had no record of it. Yeah, so Tim's truck probably was, like I said, it was probably a Hirschbach truck or, a fleet truck, and they just did it at their own shop. And so it's not going to necessarily show up in the service records. It's like my pickup. If I take it to the Ford dealership and get a transmission showed up or installed in it, it'll show up on the reports. But if I do it out here in my driveway, it's not going to show up. If I go to the wrecking yard and buy a transmission and slap it in there, nobody's ever going to know unless I tell them. Robbie Ross said Convoy is not accepting new loads. Read it on CDL Life. I'm going to have to do a story on that, I guess. Doing that phone thing, catch the replay. All right, man, have a good one. We'll see you. Thanks for coming in and contributing tonight. Good stuff. Everybody say goodnight to Midlife Trucker channel member. And I forgot to mention that Robbie Ross is a channel member as well. I'm still getting in the habit, folks. By worth fixing, I mean it's not some emissions BS. I had many issues with them, so I'm biased. Yeah, that's a good point. I know a lot of people are deleting their trucks, and I'm afraid of it because I heard a lot of states are going to start hooking up to the exhaust and checking for those things. So, and it's a big fine if they catch you. But around here, you'll see trucks that are deleted all the time, and that would automatically be a deal breaker for me because I'd be afraid of getting caught. I'm just not lucky when it comes to that stuff. Your mega carriers do keep their trucks in good shape as far as maintenance, in my opinion, says Gary Cook. Sort of. I think they know they're on a 3 or 4 year cycle, and they do what they have to do for that 3 or 4 years, but they know they're not keeping it long term, or they would probably treat it a little different if it was a long term deal. Yeah, so yours was an old Trans Am truck, so that would be the fleet thing. Trans Am shops probably stuck an engine in it at some point. And if they didn't farm it out to a dealership, then it might not show up on a report. Hey, look at that. Robbie Ross with a $5 super sticker. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it, my friend. He's also a channel member, big supporter of the show. And he's a Cowboy fan, so much respect to Robbie Ross. If I can get him to like Dak Prescott, he'll be royalty. By older truck, I mean 2000, 2007 with the Cummins, in my opinion, is a decent option. Yeah, I like the Detroits, especially the 60 series, but they're a little older than that, I'm thinking, if I remember correctly. PACCAR replaced it under warranty, but it won't show up any service record, only through the PACCAR. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. All right. We're at the 2 hour and 40 minute mark. We still got 30 people here. Comments are still clicking along. So we'll keep going. If y'all got anything else, if you don't, we'll wrap it up. And I'll get to work on tomorrow's video. But let me remind everybody while we're waiting for people to type comments, this is a great time to give this video a thumbs up, share it on your social media platforms, and make sure you're still subscribed. Also, while you're at it, you might as well tell your friends about it. You've heard me mention a lot of members in here tonight. If you want to do that, hit the join button below your screen. And if you want to know more about coming to work at SRO Logistics, his email's in the ticker. I did put Avery's phone number back down there. If you're interested in getting a truck, just check them out real good before you make any decisions. I'm not pro or against them right now. It's up to you. It'd be great if you'd mention me when you call them, but if you don't feel comfortable doing it, that's okay too. All right, we got another comment. Let's jump back in. Mega carriers run these trucks through the mud. They know they're only keeping until the warranty runs out. So they do PMs every 40,000 miles and only repair what's absolutely necessary. Hey, you're going to love this, Tim. Somebody the other day was talking about a maintenance schedule where they change the oil like every 70,000 miles. And even if the oil's good to that long, I wouldn't think the filters would be good that long. I would think you'd want to change the filters out at least every 25 or 30. I will always support when I make it to your live shows. Well, I appreciate that, Robbie. I really do, man. You've been a good friend and a loyal friend. I've really appreciated you over the years. Robbie and I met all the way back in the Roadrunner days. Been a long time. Early on in the Roadrunner days. So I appreciate him coming in and commenting and all his contributions through memberships and the super chats and all of that, or super stickers, I mean. Good guy. And Deontay did one earlier. I appreciate him as well, too. Looks like Ted's got a comment. The man that owns Trans Am is married to the daughter of the man that owns the KW dealer in KC. Wow. That's like the church lady on Saturday Night Live used to say. Isn't that convenient? All right, I'm going to remove Ted's comment so y'all can check out the website. I hadn't mentioned that tonight. If you can't get your Trucker Todd fix, you can go check out the website. There's a lot of information there as well. You can also contact me from there if you can't remember the email. And I believe it's got the headset and everything there. I'll be adding some more stuff. I always say this in the coming days. So cross your fingers, and hopefully I'll get it on there pretty soon. All right, what else y'all got for me? It's getting late. I know some of you guys got to go to bed at 8 o'clock. So I guess I will go ahead and cut this one short. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope I answered everybody's questions. We'll catch you on the next one. Should have a video coming out tomorrow morning. Y'all have a great night. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.